feels too big without you. Don't know how to quit thinking about you. Those green eyes, sweet lips, your hands on my hips, our puzzle pieces fit. These sheets, your smell, can't be by myself. I'm asking for your help. What I need you to do is love me. Love me. What I need you to do is love me. Love me. We dance in the dark, but I see you clearly. My head is a wreck when I don't have you near me. Now it's too late, too loud. We move through the crowd, look for the best way out. Your hands all over my body, whisper words in the backseat. What I need you to do is love me. Love me. What I need you to do is love me. Love me. What I need you to do is your hands over my body. What I need you to do is whisper words in the backseat. What I need you to do is your hands over my body. What I need you to do is whisper words in the backseat. What I need you to do is love me. Love me. What I need you to do is love me. Love me. What I need you to do is love me.
What are you thinking when you're silent? You're not the same what you used to be. I've been trying to love you and there's waves of violence, but you pulling away slowly. I wonder if it is just a diamond. What if I set you free? You say, what if the stars are in the realignment? I said, what do you want from me? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want from me? 'Cause if they
Exeedme revolution going on. Welcome back, everybody. Oh, there we go. There we go. Fading in. Welcome back, everybody, to a little bit more of the Exceedme blockchain CSGO tournament. I am here with Wolfie once again, and we are going to be bringing you another quarterfinal, another best of one action between Aleph.IM and Ultra. It's looking pretty good here, I think, Wolfie.
Yeah, I mean, we've had some pretty spicy games to open things up. Obviously, the big upset being, earlier on in the week, Henry G's team going out first round. He was clearly quite frustrated with it as well. So we've proven that the underdogs can make it happen. And two teams, again, we know absolutely nothing about, but I'm sure they're going to surprise us nonetheless.
Yes, indeed. Aleph.IM and Ultra hopefully going to bring us another close kind of showing. As we have seen, I think so far the two games that we've had have been relatively close in places, relatively exciting. Particularly that last one, like you mentioned. Of course, the schedule here for you guys being shown. We've got one more quarterfinal, and then moving in, as you can see in the bracket, who is indeed going to be joining, who is left to go. We've already got our first semi-final there between the Chain Guardians and Umbrella. So who is going to be joining them at the very least from this evening?
It's going to be an intriguing one. I mean, Chain Guardians at the moment still very much my favorite to win the whole thing, looking incredibly well structured, playing solidly across the board. Obviously, the upset for Umbrella was fantastic to watch, and now two more teams to book those spots in the semi-finals. More time on the stream, more AMAs, more discussing their product with you guys.
Yes, indeed. And, of course, beautiful segue there, sir. To kick us into our first AMA, we've got Jonathan from Aleph.IM. If he is with us, I believe. He is in the Discord. If he's ready and raring to go, we should, yes, indeed, be good to go. All right. Well, thank you very much for
Yep.
joining us this evening, Jonathan.
Thank you very much. Really happy to be here.
All right. So, kicking into the questions, the first one that we've got for you is can you describe what problems Aleph.IM is trying to solve?
Well, that's a pretty good question. Basically, when you want to make decentralized application, very big decentralized application, let's think Twitter size, Facebook size, LinkedIn size, YouTube even, Twitch, whatever. Blockchains aren't really the best for that today. So we worked on a way to be able to make decentralized application at a scale with decentralized database, because most websites have their database, on file storage because everything is storage basically, and also decentralized computing. And we aim to do that being cross-chain with connections to for example, Ethereum, Polkadot, Cosmos, etc. So we are providing this fully cross-chain layer 2 environment for scalability of decentralized applications.
Interesting, interesting. Just to remind everyone as well who is watching, we are going to be taking questions from the chat. There's a few prizes, I believe, going out as well if your question gets picked by me. So, you've got to make it very, very impressive to catch my eye, but be sure to keep those questions rolling in while we've got the AMA going here. Next question for you, sir, is how is Exeedme, obviously the platform that we're using to run this tournament, how are they going to benefit from using Aleph.IM?
Well, for all the for all the games and like data around the game, social profile and things like that, you need storage. And right now, on most applications, storage is done on centralized servers. The idea is to fully decentralize it so that even if, let's say, tomorrow the company behind Exeedme stops working, the product continues to work, and whatever happened, the product continues to work even without a company behind, because that's the full idea of decentralization. So that's the main goal here, is to decentralize the full stack from bottom to top, so that for Exeedme, it could include storing a profile, storing metadata, storing UI, storing pictures, storing social interactions, etc.
The next question for you is looking at the links, I guess, on your page, right, that you guys have got going. There's a decentralized app called My Aleph Preview. Is that up and running so far, and how is the data on it going to be protected?
Well, it's up and running so far, yeah. So it's basically an application where you can just log in and create an account and start immediately storing your data, just like you would on Dropbox, and start making note just like on Evernote. And everything is encrypted end to end. That means that it's encrypted on your computer. It goes on the decentralized cloud, fully encrypted. No one can read it, and you need to like download it and decrypt it on your computer to be able to like reuse it again. um, and, and well, it's live today. On the data is stored on the network and like cut in small pieces and like distributed across the network. And yeah, it works. You can use it today. My beta.aleph.im, it works.
There you go. There you go. One of the questions that we've got in from the chat, I didn't quite catch the name there, but how long will my tokens be locked in if I register a node?
Well, if you register a node, your token aren't locked in at all. The idea with nodes is that you need to like have 200,000 Aleph set aside for your node you created, and then you need to have 500,000 Aleph of people who came to stake in your node, and you get an APR of approximately 75-80% right now with that, which is kind of good because running a node costs, if you do it yourself, $100 per month. If you externalize it, could cost $300. There is a company that is providing this service, and you get a very good APR on your Aleph this way. On stakers, they get something like 18 or 19 APY% right now. And your tokens aren't locked because it's fully non-custodial. It means that you can move them anyway. Well, obviously, if you get under 200,000 Aleph, you're not get dissolved, but they aren't locked.
Well, there you go. There you go. Thank you very much, Jonathan, for joining us. It's been very informative as always, and I wish you all the best in the upcoming game.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Really happy to be here. Thanks.
All right. There you go. There you go. Jonathan helping us out, of course, and giving us more information about what they are all about over at Aleph.IM. I'm back with Wolfie, though, of course. Now we get into the nitty gritty. The Counter-Strike should be getting kicked off in just a few moments. Yeah, some really interesting stuff there. But of course, let's break into perhaps I'm gonna throw you under the bus a little bit. Do you think we're gonna see some variety in the maps so far? We've had a Mirage, we've had a Dust 2, maybe a nuke.
You do this to me every time. Every time I'm desperate and you throw that nuke pick out there to bait me into getting something with some strategy and some complexity to it. It's going to be a bug map. I would say with 75 to 80% certainty, we're going to see one of Dust 2, Inferno, Mirage, right? They're the classics. They're the ones we always end up with in these sort of best of one formats, as well as we are waiting for those bans to come through. Obviously, first thing the teams get to ban on the Exeedme platform is through the servers. We get to pick which region they'd like to play in most. Looking across the board, plenty of EU players today, so expecting, yeah, fairly standard French server. Interesting call. I tend to find the Netherlands servers have a slightly better ping response than France, but that's where we're at. And now with the vetoes starting to come through, guarantee you the first three bans will be Nuke, Train, and Vertigo.
Yeah, I mean, unlike the other day in our last quarterfinal, right? We don't have as much information on the teams either. I know there was a little bit of the Chainlink guys actually would have been kind of happy with a nuke in a sense, because I guess they were more experienced on it as a squad. But yeah, so far you're pretty on the nail. You're pretty on the nail with the bans. And it does make a lot of sense that we end up on those puggier maps, as it's just a bit easier to work yourself around. I don't know, we could see an Inferno, which although it's been around at the top level of Counter-Strike for a while, at its core is a little more strategic if you think about it. So at least more so than your Mirage and your Dust 2. But I feel at this point Inferno goes away, and we are left with indeed, Pug or Puggier is really the energy here. Could get the Inferno though.
We were banning bottom to top up until this point, but we've mixed it up a bit. Dust 2 is out of the pool, and I tell you what, I'd take Inferno.
Oh,
I will take an Inferno to get us into this one. Something with a little bit more strategy behind it. Obviously, everybody knows the set plays on Inferno, right? The executes you can land onto B, you can land onto the A bomb site, you can go through short, long, wrap through CT. There's a lot more options than you're seeing on some of the puggier maps, but for Ultra coming up against Aleph.IM, obviously we've heard about Aleph, and if you do stick around the halftime break, we're going to be getting our second AMA in from Ultra, kicking it off a little bit earlier in this stream, so make sure you don't miss it. And yeah, I mean, I'm just excited to get into some Inferno. I've been casting pretty much every day this week so far. The CS has been fantastic, and I cannot wait for more.
yeah, there you go. There you go. It is going to be a hell of a lot of fun here. Like I mentioned, though, Inferno is often a map where you still need to have things worked out. Again, it's been around and unchanged at the top level for quite some time, and it is kind of fair enough. Yeah, you could argue in places it's a little quote unquote stale there, but I think at this kind of a level, again, when we're not really recognized with how experienced these players are in matchmaking, let alone the top level. I think there's still a case that you might get caught off if you've not got a little bit prepared in your back pocket. Not necessarily. It's kind of interesting. Like, not necessarily smokes and executes per se, but just the approach to things, knowing that you shouldn't put like 4 people in apartments, which I can see from time to time on a T side game. That kind of thing needs to be recognized, and something that we've been missing in some of these teams. Again, maybe due to just as a squad, the lack of experience. Like together as a 5-man unit.
Mhm.
I think there needs to be a voice that speaks up in places, and says, "Look, here's what we're doing this round. Here's what we're buying or whatever it is," because some of the teams have been lacking that.
Yeah, we've definitely been asking for that in-game leader to role to be filled, haven't we? Someone with experience, hours in the game, repetitions on these kind of maps. That's all you really need is someone who's, put the time in. I'm sitting at a couple thousand hours. I'll come in and pug for you. I know the map. I understand at least the basic ideas of the rotations, the positioning, a couple of set smokes maybe that I
Mhm.
can teach you in the warm-up. Just the little things you need to really build into a solid half. But it's going to be an intriguing one. Obviously, you don't get that time. I think that's one of the few negatives I draw. Obviously, latest update, not even the latest update anymore. I'm sounding old. 1v1 servers coming in the warm up, right? You warm up in a 1v1 rather than the good old 16k brawl out. And in games like these, I kind of feel like there's a negative to that because certainly for me, if I was playing with people who I knew were more experienced than me, if I was playing with some of my uni mates who, face it level 10, top of the game, really know what they're doing, I'd say, okay, teach me a smoke, teach me a lineup, something I can use that will be useful within the game itself, right? You can't do that anymore because you're stuck in this little box 1v1ing. Obviously, it's great to warm up, but you do lose that ability to maybe teach something to your teammates in the sort of 2, 3 minutes before the game goes live.
Yeah, it's very true actually. Even just to a very basic level of like, okay, if we go B, you need to smoke CT. You can eyeball that. You don't need, to have the sickest lineup or whatever. If we decide to go mid, very, very simply, smoke the left-hand side or smoke the right-hand side. If just try it a couple times so you can figure out how it bounces. And again, if you need to eyeball it, that's fine. You don't necessarily need the sickest lineup or whatever going, but yeah, we have seen there's been a large discrepancy. Some players who, kind of inarguably are a little bit clueless. I don't want to be too harsh, but you know what I mean? Like they maybe have some experience with gaming, but certainly not CS. And therefore that kind of, even when it just comes to planting the bomb, some of them, will like, how do I plant the bomb, guys? And like automatically as a player, you just say you press E, but then they just press E, and actually technically it's hold E. So, they have like a second of like planting the bomb, getting back up, trying it again, and there have been a few players that have unfortunately been comical to watch in that sense. So we will see. It does sound like we've got a little bit of a delay here though, folks, unfortunately, as we are trying to sort the server out. So it would appear, Wolfie, you were correct. The French server may well have been the wrong choice. Should have gone for the Netherlands instead.
Little bit harsh. Normally I'm relating to ping, but I guess yeah, sometimes the servers just don't work out quite right and you have to get a second one up in order to get the players into the game. But looking at our schedule, of course, we've had the first 2 quarterfinals already gone and done. Ultra taking on Aleph.IM tonight. and then the Ocean Protocol against Utrust tomorrow at 8 p.m. Again, don't want to miss it. Get your questions in. Opportunities to win prizes in the chat if your question is picked by Scriv himself. And yeah, the bracket, I mean, it's been a pretty interesting start to things. Obviously, Chainlink going out so early was very unfortunate. You could really see Henry G wanted to carry them through to those semi-finals. He was really playing to his hardest skill level, right? He was really pushing to try and make it happen, but it doesn't quite land. And as a result, Chain Guardians, well, they're one of my favorite teams so far. Obviously, we got to speak to Robbie, and he was talking about how he's played a lot of CS before he went on to go and be the dev working on this project. So a lot of experience on that roster. And I think hopefully, I have my fingers crossed, we're going to find some more experience from one of these teams tonight, somebody who could potentially be looking to challenge them in the finals.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this already a little bit, but the opposite side of your little 1v1 warm-ups here, to be fair, is that we do get to watch and have a bit of an idea of how comfortable they are. There's a few players with knives dipping in, that usually speaks to a fair commitment to the game. So I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. I think there's certainly a couple here just from watching that have a little more experience than some of the players that we've seen in the past, right? And certainly a good amount to work with. Now, how far that goes, we don't know, because we have indeed in both matchups seen that, the losing team probably has the best player on the server with the most frags, with the best individual moments, but unfortunately that alone is not enough. The even spread is much more effective in terms of making sure that you've got the position that you want, you've got the hold on that CT side, for example, that everyone's able to pull their weight kind of thing. So we'll see. It's always with these best of ones so far, at least early on. I think if you keep coming back, you'll see further down the line that we'll have a bit of an idea of what the teams are capable of. But for these earlier best of ones, there's a lot of question marks for sure.
Yeah, I think the only thing we can really go off, which is your old favorite, is skins equal skill, right? We've seen a couple of knives coming out in the server, some bits and pieces like that. Gives you an idea of the players who, at least are putting either they're incredibly lucky, they've opened one box and they've got a knife out of it, or they've put some time, they've put some hours into the game, they've started to, build into it. And that's what we're looking at realistically. It's our only real tell for some of these players as to what kind of skill level we're going to get. I do say that with Inferno being picked up, I have hope for a decent baseline, right? I feel like if you've not played much of the game, you've not really picked it up, you're going towards Dust 2, you're going towards Mirage. Inferno implies at least a moderate knowledge of the rotations, of the set plays. A lot of French players in the server looking for some classic happy moments, sweating bullets as he comes out of top banana. That would be class. But yeah, it bodes well. I'm feeling pretty good about this one. I think there's definitely some opportunity for some individuals to show themselves, and obviously to learn more about the companies behind them as well.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's certainly the most interesting part for me is learning about all those different companies and whatnot, and I suppose in turn teams we would call them at this sense. But obviously, here they are on your screens right now. You can go back and take a look at the likes of Chainlink, Ferrum, Umbrella, and Chain Guardians at the VODs. If you are perhaps a little unfamiliar, you just click on the name of the channel, Exeedme Official, and you can go back and watch. In those ones, at the start and the end of the game, there were some AMAs done about these companies and what it is they're working on. And there's an awful lot of variety there, as it were. Chain Guardians working on an NFT-based game, right? And whatnot, which is certainly interesting to me. I think there's a couple other games like that out there, but I don't know as much about them and whether they've been as lucrative and whatnot. And when we were just kind of sat behind waiting for things to get kicked off, a couple of the guys who were jumping in, obviously they're all in the same space. They were like, yeah, I've heard about you guys. That sounds kind of cool. And obviously, if you're here for the CS, you're a bit of a gamer. Maybe you want to go and check that one out, because I think the idea is, play to earn kind of, right? And whatnot. So there's a lot of incentives to perhaps get involved in it.
Yeah, we've had some really interesting projects come up so far. I've certainly been intrigued by a few of them. I mean, Aleph.IM, decentralized storage, always an interesting concept, and they seem to be doing a fantastic job of executing it as well. I do love the fact that you were just sat there nodding away, just like, yep, yep, yep. You see,
there's about this much knowledge
there's a
in my
little
head
bit
about
there.
the crypto space, I'll be honest.
Yeah, luckily for me, I work a slightly more tech orientated day job, so I have at least enough knowledge to grasp a couple of the concept. But you're the interview guy, you know what you're doing, you're nailing it every time, despite not really knowing what they're talking about. But yeah, we are still waiting for the players to get into the server. It looks like we got about 8 and an admin who's just having a lot of fun slaughtering everybody on the server at the moment. Torres, get out of there. Let's get some players in and let's get this started. But yeah, I mean, I feel like we've exhausted pretty much every topic to talk about, so I'm just going to throw it out there. G2 getting rid of Kenny, I don't like it.
Okay, all right. Well, here we are, folks. Welcome to the Exeedme podcast. Yeah, I don't know, but at the same time, that's the move you've got to make, I think. And I'm regurgitating that, not my opinion, but I do kind of agree. Isn't that all it is when people, there's like a few pundits that make a point and then everyone just kind of changes the wording and tweets the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I think that's, for me, kind of where you have to go. And he has been sort of underperforming. But I don't know, man. I always feel that there's so much wrong with the way that like esports maybe approaches it. I don't know if it's the way it is in regular sports as well, but like they kind of just, to me, it seems have a bit of a conversation and then decide to cut them. Maybe come to a mutual agreement. Maybe it's like a forceful move, but I'm not sure whether you kind of light a fire under them with like, look, if you don't start putting up some decent numbers, but then is that the way to do things? Because Kenny's ceiling is insane. It's like, do you want to drop him and then he goes to like mouse sports or something wacky and starts playing out of his mind again?
Cloud9 need a new Warper, right? But yeah, I think I can agree with the decision in principle if you swap him out for another dedicated AWPer. I think the problem for me is Nico has. I mean, if you watch the veto, my podcast, going to plug that right here. We spoke about how Nico comes into teams and he can be quite an overwhelming presence. He can sort of force his way into roles. We saw obviously with G2, he's the star rifler initially, so he forces Hunter out of a couple of his roles. Hunter starts having bad games. But now he's going to a hybrid rifle up. It feels like you're taking one of the best riflers in the world and also forcing him to play on the AWP, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Obviously, he's going to be down for it, but by not picking up a dedicated AWP, you're putting him in a spot where he's probably not going to perform as well as he should be. You're going to have this really awkward. I think if you put Nico on a hybrid rifle AWP, it's going to be like, when is he taking Hunter's positions and when is he not? When's he going to pull out the AWP? Hunter's going to be forced to sort of play very dynamically and his spots will have to change constantly. And it's just going to put more pressure on the G2 lineup who were clearly already having issues and clearly didn't really know who to kick either, right? Initially, it was this whole, is it Amanek, is it Jax thing? I mean, we can tie it back into, French players playing today, but they tried both players out, they tried both players in, they swapped them around constantly, and then they finally made a decision. And 3 months later, they're going to go back on it in replacement for their primary AWP. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
I was looking over at my monitor to see if we could go off podcast mode, but we're sticking with it, baby.
Yeah, indeed. But yeah, no, and I think the thing is as well, like the Nico conversation for me is a big part of it because like he, I think, is a player's player almost. You know what I mean? Like they're quite big fans of him, a lot of respect for him. I think he is not afraid to have those tougher conversations with other players or with management kind of thing. You know what I mean? And I think that's perhaps similar to the way that he did in FaZe, where it's like, me and the players reckon Carrigan's not putting up the numbers. We want to change him. And then they go, okay, well, who's going to win game lead? And he goes, me, mate. Like, obviously, like what kind of stupid question is that? I think it's the same sort of thing. It's like, who's going to AWP? He says me. And then the question of like, well, you've not really primary AWP'd. Well, I'd just do both. Like, or like, I'm the star rifler. You're the star rifler as well. What are you going to do? And he's like, well, I'll just do both. Like, it's a little bit wacky, especially the AWP decision. The rifling, he's got a lot there, right? That you can certainly say, yes, solid. But the AWPing, he's done a bit of secondary AWPing in the past, had some nice rounds, and it worked for Simple. Why can't it work for him is maybe part of his mentality. But even then, Simple was constricted slightly when he was having to hybrid. So I don't know. It's a strange decision for me, but you could indeed get another AWPer in to replace him. I think that's the move rather than putting
Yeah.
Nico on both. Because I do get you don't want to remove one of like your foundational pillars and then have to rebuild that. You could just try and adjust slightly and bring in another AWPer. But I don't know. I also don't think that they've really given this project enough time. I understand there's been some weaker results or whatever recently, but we're not back on LAN yet. You know, there's still an adjustment period. And I think when you're in an online era, that adjustment period is going to be longer than it is usually.
Yeah, true.
And like I say, I'd be curious to know if there is a fire lit under him or not. You know,
I
I'm not
really
sure.
hope so. I really hope so. I can't remember who it was who tweeted it, but it was after he initially got kicked off Very Games back in 2013. That was when he had his 2014-15 era that personally required Gabe Newell to come down from above and nerf him. So,
Yes.
you know, if he can have another one of those eras, then we are in for a real fight. But we can stop talking and we can get straight into the action for you, ladies and gentlemen. First half of Inferno coming up very, very shortly. Thank you for listening to the Exceedme podcast, brought to you by Scriv and Wolfie. And now, well, now we've got some actual CS to watch, of course, starting straight away with the knife round.
Yeah, absolutely. Always love a good knife round. And again, it can kind of show that experience. I think a lot of people looking relatively comfortable with where to go and how to play things. It is the CT side absolutely dominating, however. And they will come away with that side pick, which, I mean, structurally, again, it's another CT-sided map. I think once you become more familiar and at the top level, it's become a hell of a lot more even T-sided in North America especially. But still, having that comfort of starting on your selected side, right? Maybe you've got 3 players who reckon they're solid at CT, not so good at T, then that's fair. And we've also seen the meta of this tournament is that T side starts can be quite effective at just dominating your opponent and keeping their economy in the bin.
Yeah, it really has been. It's been first team to get on the board, right? First one to start putting some serious rounds on T side has just then dominated a half, and from there it has spiraled. We've seen some slight comebacks. We've seen a couple of teams maybe pull away 10, 11 rounds here and there, but it's never been quite enough to get them seriously over the line. But we'll have to wait and see. Inferno, T side. I'm torn at the moment with the current iteration of the map. I'm never quite sure which way to send it. We'll have to wait and see how this one looks to pan out. First round on the board. LST, I like it. Already picking up a smoke and a HE. Showing a little bit of experience with the game. Dio, got $800, bud. Is there going to be any armor? Is there going to be anything? I think he's just going for it. I'm going to be optimistic and say he's saving for a big second round as the push does start to make its way up Banana. The buys are looking a little scuffed at first. Missed smoke from LST. Doesn't quite cover the entirety of top Banana, so the T side will be able to spread things out initially. Start to build up a little bit of map control.
Oh, push forwards here from LST. Actually wins that fight. That is a ballsy play. Taking down Torres, who I believe, as you mentioned, is one of our admins, but he's stood in at the moment as one of the Aleph.IM players. A little bit of a technical issue, which caused our delay, I believe. And now we've got everyone in. But yes, the first 2 kills coming through for the T side. Kak with a nice headshot onto DR Frost. However, looking to find another at long. That'll be nice and easy. Bess is left on 1 HP. This is certainly doable. They've found another frag as well. Keck just continuing to push forwards. Overkill with the headshot, but gets it done nonetheless. And Mangi, unfortunately, on the other side of the map with no real end in sight.
Yeah, a little bit slow on the rotation. Unfortunately, no armor. Opt to swap the USP for the Glock. It's a big call. Have to see if he can get anything done with it. He's swinging around this long angle, and Mosh not looking at all. He's going to find the one frag, but Phipps is straight there to clean things up, making it look nice and simple from the mini pit. So Aleph.IM going to get their first round on the board. An opportunity to build a little bit of bank and look to those SMGs as indeed an MP5, couple of Mac 10s brought out as well. Just going to look to farm. Oh, Mosh. We had him in for the interview earlier, and, well, PP Bison, I think I would have rather had him at the halftime and asked what on earth that buy is. Dio, we've got a Glock stickler. No, $4,000, not going to invest whatsoever. And for the CT side, a little bit of an eco. DR Frost has invested fully into Kevlar and a helmet without any firepower behind it. LST at least a couple of nades to try and make something work. And Best going to get run down. Keck there to watch for the aggression. Torres gets a second through the smoke, and pretty much as expected at this point, the T side going to start to mop up some of these exits.
Certainly looks to be that way. But yeah, it is curious. Again, you know, we are seeing some of these players with less experience. Can those with more carry the squad? Torres going to go down to DR Frost. The armor USP will be traded quickly. That $1,000, unfortunately, not really paying for itself. I suppose it's a nice frag to get, though. Nothing too much being expected here. And the second round for Aleph coming in easily. So probably expecting Ultra to buy here again, as our little meta within the tournament has developed. A lot of teams like to get the guns out as early as possible, regardless of what your utility will look like. And that is indeed the case here. A P90 even in play. So it certainly is curious. But yeah, I think very, very quickly here, once again for LF, we maybe need someone to speak up and be that leading voice. As I've mentioned, it appears on the Ultra side of things, they're pretty much all doing the same thing, right? Maybe DR goes a little bit early with the armor buy last round, but that's all good. Meanwhile, on the Aleph side, we've got Dio, so far, I believe, has not spent any money in the game. So maybe this is just some long con genius move. And Mosh, meanwhile, on that, now slightly upgraded PP Bison with some Kevlar, but no head armor to back it up.
He's going to just drop orbs, infinite orbs. They're going to get to the 5th round, and he's going to have at least 3 of them out. So looking to make it work with the Mac 10, $7,300, not investing too heavily. And as you said, need someone with a little more experience to pop their head around the corner and say, this is how you buy up, get some armor, get a rifle on you, and see what you can do. It is going to be the set play in towards B. CT smoke lined up. LST rotating in, though, with this AUG. Second smoke not quite going to land in time, and it's a field day with the AUG. He manages to get one good damage onto the second man, tries to push through the smoke as well, and he will find the conversion. Phipps at least there to trade for 3-on-3. They need another. Phipps is able to grab it. That'll be the bomb planted. And with Torres already starting to rotate into position, this could be everything. Torres takes a lot of damage, though. And Best, 2v1, 16 HP facing him. This is very doable.
Absolutely. I believe there's a kit drop somewhere as well, and the first frag comes in fast. Ready for the player towards Banana. Oh, the timing, though, is not there, and Torres will peek out and clean him up. That is pretty damn close. I think maybe if he had a kit on the belt going into that retake, there would have been a little less pressure, but unfortunately, he tried to get on the bomb. Ends up costing them. It's awfully close. Ultra are nearly there. But at the moment, Aleph are dominating.
A little bit of chaos, a little bit of madness goes a long way. We see it a lot. DR Frost. Again, the rest of the team is quite clearly on an eco. UMP armor. Some util behind it as well, though. And if he can be proactive, he can find a pick, then maybe it's worthwhile. However, Phipps playing the T-ramp with that AWP will deal with the man early on. LST now isolated will be found by Torres. The admin knows all his angles. Clearly a second quick headshot. Manky goes down, and again, CT side in a little bit of disarray here. Torres looking very sharp indeed as Holgerson falls. Best last alive. Normally I'd be saying, go save that armor, keep the deagle, give you a little bit more to work with, less investment required in the next round. But with 5 players ready to hunt and a Glock facing you down with 14 grand, it's not even worth it. Torres is going to mop things up. 4 kills in the round. CT side thrown for a loop. They will be able to invest here, but they need their team to start rallying.
Yeah, the idea, again, the thought process, maybe they have jumped in a server and done a little bit of coordination work, you know, team building or whatever. It looks pretty solid in that sense, but again, the firepower is perhaps not quite there. Keck looking good, Torres looking good, especially in that last round, the Eco Warrior. But a bit of armor dotted in, you know, that can certainly be daunting, so fair play to him. Dio, once again, not buying anything. Maybe this is all part of their strategy where they've just said, look, I don't know how to play this game. And they've said, okay, don't buy anything. And then when we need drops, we'll take it off you. Maybe run in and be the bait. They've discovered there's an AWP on B, and they don't fancy the B bomb site anymore.
I'd say I blame them. Without the utility, very difficult to get an AWP off some of these angles. Torres maintaining his role of the entry fragger. clearing out the bracket. CT side yet to really commit the rotations over towards A as well. So a 3-on-4 take coming out for the T side. Keck his way up short, gets the initial headshot, spots the man in graveyard and deals with him. T side looking very strong for Aleph.IM at the moment. The rotations have started to come in, but LST so far away on that AWP. I think at this point, CT side going to do better just to try and hold on to these rifles. Economy is not there at the moment for them. A couple of rifles. Dare I say, even a P90 saved into the next would form somewhat of a backbone, if a little wobbly one for the next buy. Holgerson does well to take out one man, but with Torres eagle-eyed over the AK-47, it's going to be very difficult. They are actually starting to think about committing here. I don't think that's the call. The AWPers made the long rotation round towards bracket, but with Holgerson being taken out already, Frost really hasn't moved from the cubby whatsoever. And LST, I think if he doesn't get a frag in the next 2-3 seconds, he's got to bail out. He does manage to find one, but again, Torres bailing his teammates out as LST 1v2. Yeah, he's going to hightail it out of here. And Phipps might even go for the hunt here, trying to deny him that AWP as much as possible, make it as difficult as possible for these CTs to rebuy. The open door may give the game away somewhat, but for now at least, the AWPer is going to be able to hold on to that big green gun. The chase is in, and it will be Phipps taking the AWP away right at the death. A 5-0 start. No firepower available for the CT side on the save. They are going to buy him regardless. I mean, what do you change at this point? I think maybe some aggression is warranted over towards B.
Yeah, they've got to go for something. They are going to buy into this round as well. I mean, I kind of like this idea. You do have some richer players. It's not a full buy, obviously, but then Frost, he spends a little bit too much. I suppose it's probably Dr. Frost, isn't it, thinking about it? But all the same, he spent too much. That I know for sure. It might come back to bite them, but another B attack coming through from Aleph here. Okay, here we go. Mangi opening up, able to play safe. Dr. Frost thought he was on the edge of the smoke, not the case. Meanwhile, Holgerson over on the A side of things, or mid more specifically, goes down. B, meanwhile, is eventually crumbling. It was a nice opener. They cannot hold it down here. And Aleph looks set to get yet another round.
Starting to look a little bit brutal, isn't it? Mangi, 22 HP from that smoke spray. He's trying to wait for Best to join him, but with only a Deagle, so many angles to clear, so little time, and yet more spray damage coming in. Again, it's a question of, do you just go for the save? Best at least able to get one. With his teammate gone, removed from the round, that armor becomes all the more valuable. So again, 3 players kept up for this T-side economy. Blossoming. I mean, if you've got a player who's not going to buy anything ever, Dio is now max money, $16,000 to his name. Phipps does manage to take Bess out in the end. It cost Torres his life, but at this point, T-side really not fussed about that at all. 6-0 up. Finances absolutely flush if only they can work out how to get Dio to drop them a rifle. Couldn't really ask for much more from Aleph.IM. Ultra in need of some inspiration, shall we say.
All right. This could be the round in which they do it as well. Again, it seems a lot of rounds here have been workable. Some have even been close. Just not able to get it over the line. How often has that been the case in these early rounds as well in these games? Dio going in first once again. Acting a bit as the bait, although Moshi kind of hard baiting him, unfortunately. Bless the poor lad. Oh, a rough peak as well. Dr. Frost, I'm not against that. I think it's a great angle and it does get traded. But you're on a UMP, certainly not ideal. You limit yourself using that weapon. You can't really go for the slow peek on it. Maybe a cheeky shoulder peek. Either way, 4-on-3. Torres apparently has not bought into this round as well. Not quite sure what's happened there, but an opportunity because the 3 of Aleph actually a hell of a lot weaker than you'd think.
Yeah, a real lack of firepower. Torres is going to be able to salvage himself an AK-47, but doesn't look like he's even got armor behind it, so that aim punch is going to become a significant issue. Fipsy flashing himself into the angle. Mosh is there for the bait, but the shot doesn't quite land, and this T-side, 40 seconds left. They've got to get a move on. Nice pick for the first man. Mangi, though, still there. Still has to be dealt with in towards CT. The smoke and HE combo should ward him off, and oh, this is all a bait. It's all a ruse to draw the rotations over towards the B bomb site. Torres will sneak his way out of A, and the CTs, well, they may smell a rat, but it's going to be too little too late. The Speedway rotation will start to come in. Mosh needs to make some noise now to try and keep this T side in the ascendancy. Bomb going to go down regardless. Fipsy's made the rotation on that AWP. And the CT side will be calling some very rapid rotations. Long smoke comes down. Mosh is going to get caught as he comes out of bracket. Torres and Phipps been two of the high-flying players for this T side, in need of a 2v3 now. Nice setup. Pit, mini pit, crossfire, but if Best can get things done out of the apartments, he deals with Torres. Phipps now 1v3. Nice pick for the first, but now he's isolated in towards that pit. They're pushing him up close and personal. Mangi will land it. Doesn't have the kit. Is trying to allow Holgerson to jump in. I was a little worried for a second, but the team play is there. Holgerson's going to get the defuse down, and Ultra will have their first round on the board.
Certainly, in your mind's eye, you can see that going south, you know, a bit of panic between the two of them or whatever. But all good in the end. All good. They managed to communicate effectively, which is always great in your high-octane situations. You know, we've seen even top-level players fluff a moment like that where the hard work is done, but the easy part gets messed up. So very, very well done. Again, Dio is capped. So far has not bought a single weapon as far as I'm aware. I think he's been dropped one or two or picked one up. Moshi as well, echoing here a little needlessly. This is a cheeky smoke from Bess in apartments. But unfortunately, nobody's headed over there. It is another B attack here from the T side. Dio to go first. Ooh, it's a great idea, but unfortunately, LST kind of savvy to it. Gets a bit lucky as well in a sense. There it is. It works this time. But it's cost them an awful lot. 4-on-3 with Torres being very low indeed means that Ultra once again are in the upper hand situation. This is certainly doable for them.
They've got a really nice flank going as well there. Full mid control. Torres trying to at least keep them halfway honest by making noise deep from spawn. LST has the AUG. Couple of flashes to work with to try and buy time. Peeks wide though. Just goes dry into the angle, and that's not going to work out whatsoever. CTs now know this is going to be the B site hit. They can start to converge, crossing over. They're lucky not to get caught. Holgerson had himself a timing. Mosh does have the bomb on his back. Seems to just about know where it needs to go down. Phipps swinging out on this peak, not quite landing the initial shot, but he's baiting things in perfectly. Torres gets the frag, and it's Bess. Again, how many times have we seen him in these clutch situations? Luckily, the bomb down, not going to be a problem with 20 seconds left. 1v2, no utility, no defuse kit. Really very little Bess can hope to bring to this. He set himself up nicely on the first angle, but can't quite land the headshot. And Phipps still alive and kicking, goes down low again. Bess trying to make the most of this situation. He sneaks his way up towards the coffins. He knows he's in the middle of a crossfire, but he's going to find the first man. Torres times it to perfection. Down to the wire yet again, but Aleph.IM will have their 7th round. On the CT side, they will have to keep pushing to get something going.
It's rough, man. It's rough. They had a small foot in the door. But unfortunately, it's not really being used to its full potential. Got a Negev. Here we go. Moshi in with perhaps one of the worst guns in the game. I mean, it fills a niche. It fills a niche. It makes you so slow. That's my thing. Either way, the CTs are coming away with the advantage here pretty heavily as well. Dio going to get caught. Not going to win that fight, unfortunately, all onto Fipsy. I mean, he's done damage over at A, but the bomb has dropped and 3 players to find. 4 in total on his own. So a lot of work for the AWPer of that Aleph.IM side.
At the very least, his apartment's aggression has held Holgerson on this rotate for now. He's starting to think about joining his teammates over at B, however, and will make his way through the speedway. Fipsy trying to isolate these fights. Molotov forces them out. Nice pick. Over the half wall, he finds Mangi. Might just double back at this point as well. He's actually drawn the rotation in full. With the bomb on his back, he's got options either way. Holgerson smells a rat and will start to make the rotation around. Thinking about doing it silently, changes his mind as he gets library control, and this aggression from LST is critical. He has all the information he could possibly need now, knows that this has to be the A-site hit, and it's going to be Phipps out of the apartments. Holgerson's timed this well. He hasn't been spotted yet as the AK making a lot of noise on his entry to this site. Only 20 seconds left. Got to stick the plant at some point, and now Holgerson will start to swing. Splash into the site, not going to land. And Phipps 1v4 to 1v1. Pop flashes himself out. Nice. Blinds LST completely. He's just going to take the fight and win it. Aleph.IM, a huge clutch coming out from Phipps. He uses the AWP, drops it for the AK, and lands them a guaranteed lead at the half.
Okay. Now we're starting to get a little bit worried because that was a great spot for Ultra to be in, and yet it is converted by the opposition. Ooh. They will be now kind of down in the dumps. You know, there's getting rolled over, as it were, and, you know, losing round after round that just feel like they're unwinnable, versus being in a position where actually you could have done something very, very effective. You know, 3 players surviving is fantastic. Got a bit of money going. It's looking good. But it all falls by the wayside. And unfortunately, I think that morale-wise can be a lot harder to recover from.
Speaking of money, Mosh and Dia won 16 grand. Best will get the opening pick onto Torres as he's looking to clear his way up. And all the timing, the P90 spray around the corner from LST will land. This is where those Glocks start to cause some real issues, right? Keck, he was the only player to buy armor into this round. He's down on half HP from a nade. Dio, no armor on a Glock. Mosh has at least managed to salvage an AK-47, but no armor behind it either. And all 3 players stuck into the apartments. Again, a fantastic situation for Ultra. They even aggress Banana to make absolutely sure this is going to be a Best with a very nice timing, deals with Dio. LST will go down, but he's done enough damage that surely, yeah, Holgerson will be able to find the convert. It's on to Mosh. We had him in the pre-game interview. The AMA, now he's in the 1v4. He's going to get caught, surely. Wandering around second mid. Didn't seem quite sure where to head. And Ultra will have their second round on the board. 4 players kept alive. A little bit of cash built up. But if someone can teach Mosh and Dio how to drop, the T side, well, they are set for the half.
All right. The real question for me, I mean, you know, the finances, the economy is always important in Counter-Strike, don't get me wrong, but the big one here is whether Ultra can keep it up or whether it's going to be a repeat of all those rounds ago where it just completely fell apart as soon as it seemed to be going well. Losing subsequent rounds, losing clutch situations as well. They do well to bounce back from that in isolation, but like I say, whether they can keep it going for the rest of the half is another question. Big damage early on. Ooh, nice find by Keck, though. Clean headshot, nice clean trade as well. And that is absolutely perfect. The B bomb site now ripe for the taking. Not looking good at all here for Ultra. They will indeed have a player across pretty quickly in the form of LST. The rest of them also here quite fast, but it's still going to be difficult. Keck pushing forwards, needs to win this frag. LST gets so incredibly lucky, looking completely the wrong way, but unfortunately the angle not checked by Keck, and now the round is certainly doable.
Best can find Mosh, then this really starts to open up. Torres planted on Banana will be the afterplant. Needs to try and keep that rifle trained in. Mosh, unaware of the aggression, will go down to LST. Fipsy in towards the pool, only able to find the one. It's Torres to back him up, and the AWPer now 1v1, but that clock is so far gone. I don't think there's anything LST can do except save that AWP. And indeed, he'll run down towards the bottom of Banana. Will keep the big green in his hands at least. The T side, they keep on trucking. Ultra only able to pull out the isolated rounds at the moment, not able to find any kind of consistency behind it. Having said that, Mosh and Dio, they hold the key to the finances of the T side, and so far, they're not willing to give it up. Both players with plenty of bank. Press G, drop your guns, give your teammates something to work with. Keck, Fipsy, and Torres pretty much emptying their own finances to get a buy into this round, so going to need some more success if they are to continue on this form. Dio again. Glass Glock. Making its way up towards top of Banana. Just meticulously taking this control. I like the idea from Ultra. Pulled out the double AWP setup. Nothing else has really been working. So as soon as the finances allow it, let's get that on the board. Torres, though, opening things up. Frost missing the initial shot. Will be given another chance and will convert. But it's all a ruse again. They want to head over towards this A-bomb site. And Torres, he spotted the barrel. He'll be able to deal with Holgerson. It's falling apart once more. LST, that saved AWP. All that stands between Aleph.IM and a bomb plant. And Mosh, he's making so much noise top banana that they can't even rotate things in. So as the bomb is dialed down, LST will think about aggressing through that smoke. Opts instead to stick around towards the motor, will eat the nade. Heck, looking for the spray down to confirm. Yeah, this is the one problem with the double AWP setup. Looking for the retake, all but impossible. Phipps will find the frag that should surely confirm it. Torres and Keck will close things out. Double digits for Aleph.IM, and we're getting pretty close to that second AMA already.
Yes, a bit prematurely, it seems as well. You know, it's certainly going faster, and I think we have had some discrepancy between players and between teams overall, but this has been one of our more one-sided affairs. And to me, it's a little stranger, because I look across to the Ultra side, and I don't think there's really anyone that has, you know, never touched the game before. Dio is obviously an incredibly new player, seems to have been open about that with his teammates. And they are working their way through it. Whereas Ultra, I'd say like 3 of the 5 of them, it looks like they maybe have a few hundred hours, and then a couple of the others downloaded it ahead of time. So it certainly is strange. Unfortunately, talking over the action. Now, that's a big no-no when you're casting, folks. Don't be doing that in the big moments. But of course, at the moment, it took place in 20 seconds, Jack. So many kills coming in. It seems, unfortunately, Ultra are falling apart. LST takes a lot of damage on the backside. Does manage to get into Banana and cobs an aid. I don't think they quite recognize that he's there. And they'll actually manage to find a frag. It seems like it's all in vain, though, because it's a 4v2. Both remaining CTs are low and away from the action. Now just Frost. And I think he's all but dead. Fipsy will take him down. And that is the 11th round for Aleph.IM. They are dominating right now.
Definitely looking like the roster to beat for me at this point. Fantastic form. Some individuals really stepping up. Obviously, Torres joining the fight, but making the most of his situation. Especially impressive considering Mosh and Dio, just realized, yet to get a kill between them. Not 10 on both of those guys. So the 3 heavy carries coming in from Keck, Fipsy, and Torres. Still a decent buy for the CT side regardless. Able to get majority of rifles. DR Frost drops down onto, I'm not even going to say the worst P90. He's been making it work, but the problem is Torres, again, just ripping things open to start this B-bomb site aggressive. LST left on his own. The rotation is starting to come through, but Torres already over the pool. Will be traded at least through the smoke. And that bomb is nowhere to be found. Fipsy, a little bit AFK at the start of the round, I suspect. Has got to try and recover the situation. Keck does well. That opens up the A-bomb site single-handedly. Holgerson has overcommitted, shown his hand on the rotation. Mosh will keep him busy. The bomb will go down over towards A. Best at least finds the frag that should open things up. But as the bomb is dialed in, it's a long rotation. There's no utility to at least have a defuse kit. I'm looking for silver linings here. The auto director wants to give us a look at spawn. There we go, Fipsy. Can't quite land the initial shot. Dueling with Bess in towards that library area. Nades exchange, damage taken, Molotovs to make it even more difficult. He takes so much damage without even being able to take a fair fight. And Holgerson, it really does all come down to him now, but he's been spotted trying to clear out this pit, so he's done for. Dio decides his job is done for the evening, and, well, Bess, with that little time left on the server, got to be considering the save. It will be a 12th round on the board for Aleph.IM. The dominance will continue. And what a half it has been for them on the T side.
Pretty much unstoppable in the past few rounds as well, unfortunately. There was a bit of gas. There was a bit of wind in the sails of Ultra, but it seems to have disappeared here. Our first timeout. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? First time out of the tournament. Technically speaking, a technical one, but of course, you know, at this kind of level, they generally just use their normal timeouts, and hopefully things will be sorted quickly. It appears a disconnect has come through from Dio, and he's Mr. Moneybags. They don't need him at this point, but it's also nice to have the extra body as well. They have been, again, it's tactical, right? They've been using him quite well, sending him out there for the feelers so they can just see on the mini map, okay, there's 3B, let's go A, something like that. So he has indeed been useful, but unfortunately not in the server right now, which is not the end of the world. We can see if you look at the score lines, the kills and whatnot, but certainly you want everyone to be here for the victory.
Looks like we may just be sticking with it. The 4v5 looking to come in for the T side of Aleph.IM. Last round of the half, of course, we have got the AMA in the break, so a little bit of time maybe to get Dio reconnected into this server. And now we're going to stick with it. Decent buy, as I said, for the CT side. Not everything they would have been hoping for, but at least rifles. DR Frost again onto that P90. Last banana control taken. DR Frost will be cleared, and it's Torres swinging the angle. Does get traded initially. Fipsy, again, there on the AWP to back things up. 3v3 after those initial trades start. It's just LST on this bomb site as well. They're dumping utility to try and clear him out. Not going to show his face from new boxes just yet. Actually switches it up to second oranges. If he can get a couple of frags, maybe this is viable. Manages to take out LST, but again, that trade is there. Best straight through the smoke, and there we go. Mosh on the board. First kill for him, and he's looking to take more damage still. Holgerson will connect. And thrust Fipsy into the 1v1. Pop flashes himself to get into construction. Holgerson, with a decent enough read on this, will find the spray down as well. CT side, not going to be going completely quiet on their first half. A third round will be theirs, 12-3 at the half. It's salvageable. I think pistol is pretty much essential at this point, but it gives them something to work with.
It is indeed doable. We will, of course, see at the turn of the half, I believe. Yes, indeed. Okay, so the pause has come through successfully from the admin and whatnot. I did get a little bit worried there because it was counting down. I was like, oh, do I, take us back to cams, of course. It's me and Wolfie here as we are just making sure to get Nicholas from Ultra all set up and ready. We will let you know when that is, of course, to be sure to get a few questions prepped right in the chat. Again, I will be looking, and you've got to impress me. And as we've talked about, my knowledge is fairly small. So, maybe a big fancy question that hopefully he can answer, because we did have a couple last time. And Mike, I believe, was just like, I can't answer that. I'm sorry. So, hopefully something that can be answered. But yes, indeed. I mean, we could talk about the game while we're getting ready for that. It was a very, very strong showing initially from Aleph.IM. Ultra, unfortunately, not able to pull things back. I do believe, however, that Nicholas is here and ready to join us for the AMA. Yes, beautiful. All right. Welcome in. Welcome in. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, thanks for having me. I could see some of our members will not have a yearly bonus, sadly. So we will see the end of the game.
We got the second half. There's a chance. I've got a few points saved away, in their favor that I will save for when we get back into the game. But for you, the first question, can you just give us a brief overview of what Ultra is to our audience?
Sure, of course. I would say about Ultra. So I think it's been around 3 years that we started the project. We have about 65 people now full time working on it. Big team, many located in France and Eastern Europe. And in terms of the product itself, so we are building an ecosystem of applications for the games industry first, then entertainment industry. So you should really see it as an aggregator. So when you're on Ultra, you have access to all the different applications that you want. For example, if you want to access to a tournament platform, if you want to access to a live streaming platform, game distribution, so anything that is part of your universe as a gamer will all be part of the platform Ultra. So essentially here, if you think even about Exeedme, we could even integrate you guys as part of the platform like we did for Tela. So this is the idea and the concept of the platform itself. The second aspect, so this is really for the ecosystem. And then the second layer is that we have a game distribution platform that we built from the ground up, which is similar to what you would use like Steam. Not like Epic Games, because Epic Games really is just a store and there's nothing else around it. We are more like a fully fledged platform with anything you can imagine. Similar for the game developers, they have all the different features that they have on Steam, like the full SDK, parity with them. So anybody who want to join from Steam to Ultra, it's also very simple to do and to achieve. On top of that, so we have our own blockchain technology that we developed. We forked EOS.io initially, heavily modified it, and so we end up with a solution that is truly mass market. So we can actually make instant transaction, free transactions. There is no need to understand even anything about blockchain to use the platform. So this is it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I think you alluded to it a little bit there, but the next question I was going to ask is, how would you plan on onboarding people that maybe don't know about blockchain? But I guess you kind of touched on that slightly.
I would say related to that, today when you're using blockchain, usually it's very complicated. You need to create your account, your wallet. You have to store your key somewhere that you might lose. You have to pay transaction fees. Everybody knows about the complexity now of today's blockchain. Some are getting better. And for Ultra, essentially, we have a solution that allows the gamers, when they join the platform, they don't need to understand anything about it. Basically, they can just register. They have a wallet automatically. When they purchase content, they have just a simple flow, the same way you would purchase with credit card or PayPal or whatnot. So there is really no understanding of blockchain needed. Besides that, when you're on the platform, you can benefit from all the functionalities. Like, for example, if you want to resell your game, you can do it. If you spend like 1,000 hours playing World of Warcraft, you can actually tokenize your character just by pressing a button and resell this specific character to somebody else to make money out of it. Like at the same time, the developer can make money as well. So with all this tweakable, configurable through interface, meaning that even as a game developer, if I want to use Ultra, I don't even need to understand anything about blockchain either. So as a player, I don't need to understand it. As a gamer, as a developer, is the same fight. So this is how we make it very simple for them to join the platform.
Yeah, okay. I think I'm going to combine a couple questions here. One coming in from the chat from Crypto Smith, and one that we had thought out here at Exeedme. Can you maybe touch on some of what your NFT technology does, and then combining with the question here from the chat, do you have a big game in mind with which you would want to show off those NFT capabilities?
Yeah. So essentially, in terms of the NFTs themselves, they are probably very different from what's out there today. We didn't unveil anything about it yet, but we design it also by speaking with all the partners we have. So we have about 150 game developers and publishers signed up to be on the platform. So that's like, I don't know, roughly 2,000-3,000 games that we can pick from to create our catalog for the platform. And a lot of them are really large studios, meaning that we speak with them on a very regular basis. So we also discuss about what do we want to do, how do we want to do it. And we have a lot of feedback. So we try to design a solution that is actually what people want on the game space and also on the game services. So the NFTs can be used inside the games. They can be used outside of the games. They can be priced for tournaments. They can be dropped in a live stream. They can be tournament entrance. They can be tons of different things within Ultra. So we have a different approach to how we design our NFTs. And essentially, there is a lot of value and that is created for everybody along the line. Now, for who would be using it, essentially we have a lot of potential that I can't really highlight today, sadly. But essentially, we've been working in the games industry for the past, I think now close to 15 years. We built PC game studio, mobile game studio, monetization strategy companies, even a game console for the Chinese market. So we touch different aspects. So we have a lot of contact in the space. And essentially, yeah, that's because of the experience that we managed to have a lot of people around the table who want to participate in Ultra.
There you go. There you go. I know you mentioned World of Warcraft in there. I think that's a kind of great idea as a player of the game, right? To be able to move a character that perhaps you don't touch so much anymore, and get a bit of money out of that. And then, am I correct in saying, because we had a couple people ask in the chat as well, you said 250-ish developers you're in contact with at the moment?
150 that are signed up. Now we are in contact with more than that. That's just the
Right.
one that
Okay.
signed up, essentially.
Gotcha.
But there is essentially how it works is you have different type. Some will require your platform is launched, so they can actually try out SDK, try out features to come in. Some we already know for a very long time, so we just do a demo. They're like, "Fuck, this is good." When we show them, usually they're just amazed. They're like, "Yeah, we use the Steam, so now we see that this is how we always wanted it to be." And every time there is like, okay, yeah, but I'm gonna have a problem, in this specific region, or how do I do? We always have the solution so far. So far, so good. We are really happy, and I think the developers who started uploading games are very excited as well. We are looking here, I think, in about a few months, top. I would say a few months to not stress out anybody on the team, but probably shorter than that. We're going to have the platform, the mainnet coming up, meaning that we will also have the people who can upload more games on the platform. Because right now, games on the testnet have to be reset when go to mainnet, so we avoid to put too many games. We just put one here, I think it was yesterday, from a partners, Plugin Digital, and they brought essentially a new crypto-related game. So we helped them to push it a little bit. But yeah, people are very excited, essentially, whether they're developers or influencers as well. We haven't started this yet, but yeah, there's some cool stuff coming up.
All right. I mean, it sounds great. It sounds great. So, yeah, I want to thank you very much for coming on, Nicholas. And, of course, wish you guys good luck in the next half of this game coming up.
Yep, definitely. Thanks a lot, and good luck to the team. Guys,
Yeah.
go do it.
We'll see. We'll see. It's a comeback required, of course. But yeah, it should be a pretty interesting one. I do believe. Oh, we've got half of Wolfie. Okay, there we go. We are gonna have to just cut to a little, of course, break screen for a second while we get the cameras sorted out. Everything should be all good in just a second. But voice-wise, Wolfie should be back.
Hello there.
Hello
Yes,
there.
I am. And yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty violent first half. 12-3 up at the moment. Aleph.IM clearly showcasing some superiority in areas. I have hope, however. Ultra, T side, a little bit more individualistic. Rotations can be manipulated. And as we said earlier from the Aleph.IM boys, there was only really 3 players who were seriously fragging out. So maybe you can start to manipulate them, move them around the map a bit, start to pile that pressure on, and start to dream of a comeback.
Yes, indeed. I think it will be curious to see. I think they've got enough room to work with, but it is, I guess, to you, we've done a lot of casting together, but I will keep saying it in this tournament that a chain is only as strong as its weakest link, right? And I think that on the CT side, there may be some exploitable areas. The joy for them, at the very least, of having the AMA in the middle is that they have got a lot of time on both sides of the equation, so that Aleph can maybe say, okay, perhaps not the best idea to have Moshi and Dio on the same bomb site, like have them both on B by themselves, because that might mean that we're retaking an awful lot and it's a difficult site to retake, right? So certainly I think it will be curious if they have done a bit of that working out and whatnot between the 5 of them. Same goes across to Ultra, right? It's like, okay, figure out where they're playing, try and mix things up, try and attack those weak points early on. Of course, the stats on your screen here so you can get a bit of an idea. Do believe Dio is -1 because he left the server. That's sick. I've not casted the game this far in where someone's had -1 before, but that's great. I mean, it's fair. And like we said, they worked him and they gave him a role last time out. So and it worked very, very well actually to just be that, info beacon in towards B or A.
Yeah, that's really all you can ask for. And we've realized we've worked out what Mosh is doing. He's keeping that 100% headshot rate up. gets himself that one kill, making sure he is lightning accurate with everything he does. But we are very shortly going to be getting back into things. I can see a few of the players buying up to my right, so we should be getting back into the action shortly. Heard from both the companies now, had a great AMA with both of them. Those guys in the chat, thank you so much for asking the questions. And we hope you got everything you wanted to know out of them as well, because for us, it's always intriguing hearing about these new companies, what they're bringing to the crypto space. It's great to get this opportunity to question them more and get some real solid information about what they're doing.
Yeah, and look, Ultra, I got that one. I understood that one quite a bit actually. So certainly Nicholas, very very insightful. If you did miss the one earlier on, do be sure follow the channel. Hit the name of the channel. I know some people maybe aren't familiar with the new layout on Twitch and whatnot, and you can get access to past broadcasts, and you can go back, watch the VOD, catch the interview with the Aleph.IM guys, with Moshi himself. In fact, Jonathan was on for that one. I don't think, by the sounds of it, Nicholas is playing, but he is cheering on as best he can. Obviously, it is not the worst situation you can possibly be in, but this is, as we are saying, a very, very tough comeback. My man Fipsy with the knife on both sides, by the way. That's a big flex. Yeah, he's got an M9 fade on his T side and a Bowie Doppler.
Okay, not a fan of Bowie. I don't know about you.
Yeah,
bit much, bit big.
It is a bit, isn't it? It is a bit. It's maybe, like that's not a knife, right? You can give it one of those from Crocodile Dundee. Perhaps in a better accent than I. But yeah, I don't know. It doesn't quite sit for me. The animation's not that great.
Either way, though, we've got Julie's out for Mosh. 5-7 for Keck. Decent utility picked up by Fipsy as well, as we are just waiting to get back into the action. LST has picked up a Tech 9, and I am getting flashbacks to last night, ESEA Premier, LDLC. They just sent a man out with a Tech 9, and he shredded absolutely everything. It was madness, complete chaos. It's such an RNG weapon, but it can work out so beautifully well. We'll have to see what they look to do with it. I have a sneaking suspicion I know exactly where this T-side hit is going. 2 smokes, 3 flashes, and a HG. This feels like a B rush to me. And the CT side, well, they want to be ready for it. 4 players going to be over towards that B bomb site initially. And indeed, the fight will be coming right to them. That nade is huge. 3 players down low on HP. Torres playing behind the woods, going to get all 5 of them lined up for him. He can only find 1, though, and it's Mangi and LST to start really trading things out here. It's going to be all on to Fipsy, and he only finds the first as well. So all of that damage left unconfirmed on the server, as it's going to be Mosh and Keck to retake.
That clock train, man, it can be difficult. Bess as well with a great angle to watch behind. Now it's all just on to Moshi with his trusty Julies. Can he keep the 100% headshot ratio? He is absolutely miles away from the action. That's a little awkward, but he does look to be on his way in. Bess holding with the USP, though, will get a good few opportunities. Doesn't quite land the shot. Moshi going for a spray with the Julies. The round is gone, folks, but he might be able to get himself a frag on the tail end. There you go. Now maybe run away from the bomb. Someone perhaps needs to inform him of that fact. He will go down with it, though, as a captain goes down with the ship, goes down with the B-bomb site, I suppose. And Ultra come away with the pistol. Now, jokes aside, awkward attempts at a 1v3 aside, Ultra are in a pretty good spot here. That was fairly dominant, to be honest, charging forwards, sticking together. I think if they can do that, if they can ball together, they might just be able to overwhelm sites at the very least. Now, whether they hold on to them is another question, but there's potential here.
Yeah, it definitely feels like they're isolating those big fraggers, right, that we saw in the first half, getting the individuals in awkward spots, putting the pressure on, and this time straight into the other bomb site, straight into Keck. He can only find so much damage. Mangi goes down to half, but that's the A bomb site open for business. Mangi even going to start lurking for some more frags as the exits come through. Nothing Fipsy can do about it. The defuse kit drops. These remaining players, just about what, if any, damage can you get? Mosh on a tear with the Julies will grab himself another. Might even be able to salvage the AK-47 at this point. That'd be a fantastic take, as Torres, he's toying with the idea of this, but LST has very much got his name, number, and full postal address, just locking him out of that A-long area. Nothing he can really do. Mosh going to get the gun down in the back as Best catches the timing for 2, and Torres Well, he's 1v4. He's being hemmed in from absolutely everywhere at the moment, and there will be no way he can get out of it. A 5th on the board for Ultra. 4 players kept up. 3 AKs saved as well. This is looking much more promising for the T side now.
Early days on their comeback train. But I think you used the right word there, sir. Promising. Certainly. It does, to me, look like it could be doable if they can keep this up. It's very, very safe play from Aleph, by the way. Not jumping the gun, as we would maybe see some of these teams do. However, the Deagle of Torres, he's also able to survive in that fire. They do not capitalize at all. And that might just be the first kind of issue here for the T side if they're not careful. A lot of damage done. Trading Moshi back is certainly nice. I'll continue to hold my point about money because the action does not stop here. Dio gonna fall. That might be the frag that does it. The A-bomb site now pretty vulnerable. Rotations are here quickly. They do need to capitalize on this. We've got a lot of players stood in and around apartments. This is something that I said I did not want to see. Fipsy catches Mangi off guard as well and brings it back into a 3-on-3. It seems, Jack, that I'm not going to get my point out at all because the action so far has not stopped in this round number 18.
That should be the frag that does it, though. Fipsy and Torres both over towards this A-bomb site as the bomb decides it much rather have a stab over at B. Of course, the chaos means there's plenty of time for this. 50 seconds still left on the clock as the rotations will come through. Fipsy and Torres already done decent damage. Couple of frags found. We'll be looking for what more they can establish. Torres is low HP. Fipsy just on the P250 does actually catch his man off guard. Frost. It was a skewed flash. It was an awkward one, but it saves his life. Banking his lucky stars as the CT side, I think at this point, just set themselves up for exits, right? Fipsy does have a defuse kit and a smoke. Maybe sets up for the late ninja, but the T side, they are not evacuating this bomb site anytime soon. Happy to stick around as it ticks slowly but surely down. To be fair, the plant isn't great. If they could get into this bomb site, there's a world where they could do it. Fipsy's looking for it as well, but getting caught with the smoke out is going to mean his time is up. Torres at least keeping them in towards this bomb site for now, but as he goes down, they should be able to escape. All 3 rifles should be kept up, and indeed, they will hightail away. So 3 AKs kept. Economy building over on the T side of things for Ultra. And Aleph, I think this first rifle round already pretty important in the grand scheme of things.
All right. Here we go. This is the first true test for Ultra. Moshi taking his time, but he has figured out how to work the buy menu, I suppose. We've had a good conversation about that and a bit of a play around with it. Dio still has yet to work his way around. Again, I think Moshi looks familiar with FPS type titles, but maybe not CS so much. Dio, meanwhile, has looked fairly uncomfortable, you know, knows how to run in and be that bait. But situations like this just gets, you know, caught out in the open. Very little spatial awareness and things like that. And that's fine. Being Mr. Moneybags is all good. But the A-bomb site left vulnerable very, very quickly. We've also got Moshi here. This is something that we talked about. Maybe a few areas to exploit. Torres quickly traded in the old 1-2 punch. Down goes Moshi on the site. Keck going to fall in the pit as well. And now it's all left onto Fipsy 1-on-4. Finds the first, but I think that's a bit too much damage to get anything else done.
Really no choice other than to bail out of this situation, and that gap, as much as we praised it, is starting to look a little bit slim. 6 rounds will tick down to 5. Again, the T side will keep 3 rifles up, so the economy will continue to build. Opportunity to start dreaming a dream, 1 round at a time to get back into this game, of course, but definitely a lot more consistency from Ultra than what we saw in the first half, and just exploiting the fact that Aleph can't put all their good players in one spot. They gamble, they hit a site, this T side 2-3 times, B twice, then they head to A, and every time they've just been able to overwhelm with the numbers. LST this time will pick up the big green. Dio has enough money to maybe drop one across, but they're not going to rely on it for the CT side. Mosh goes for the swag 7. Dio, armor, UMP in hand. Let's see what he can get done with it. It's going to be really up to Fipsy and Torres. Keck, supporting character in the cast of this round. Torres dumps the early utility. trying to get anything he can out of that initial banana control. Currently playing a very isolated role over towards B, being trusted to solo hold. Big call. Without the AWP in hand, it's very difficult to do so. And yeah, he's going to get caught completely off guard. Mangi with a free swing, and that single-handedly opens things up. Bess out of the boiler, going to find one. Keck toying with the idea of being aggressive. It's split this CT defense completely and utterly. At least manages to get one. Keck drops the Molotov to allow his retreat, but the bomb is making its way out of these apartments. Keck on the reload needs more frags here, and he can only find the one. Mosh actually gets the Mag 7 frag, but not expecting the man behind him will go down. Again, Fipsy is in the clutch. A little more viable this time in the 1v2, but he doesn't expect the aggression. It's Mangi pushed up in his face to get the 8 for Ultra. Economy's still all right for the CT side, but these rounds, they are slowly trickling away.
Getting there, isn't it? Certainly getting there. With what we are seeing, perhaps you start to believe in Ultra. Now that I've said that, of course, the opposite will happen. But it's looking good. It's looking very good indeed. They've had some, once again, great rounds. And like I say, that ball, I think, mindset is working quite well for them. Keep it simple. Make sure you're always with a friend. Get the trade. And then as the round comes to a close, we will look to group up. See what the plan is. It looks like a shifting of players. Fipsy and Keck holding on A. Meanwhile, Torres, who's kind of the strongest member here, plus Moshi and Dio over on B. No action as yet. Minute 15. Not really seen an awful lot. Bit of utility here and there. Bit of damage through smokes, but not an awful lot at all.
Split the sites, the T side. They've drawn the rotation. 3 players heavily committed over towards the B bomb site. As the A hit will look to come in. Mangi just lurks for the idea. The niggling thought in the head of the CT side that the commit is here. Fipsy with the first frag should start to smell a rat. Keck is there to back him up. The spray will work out well. 4 on 2, make it 4 on 1 as Torres over towards B deals with the rotation, and Aleph.IM are on the board for their CT side. They find the setup that works for them. The commitment over towards B doesn't draw the rotations well enough. 13-8, this is where that buffer really starts to come into play, right? They've lost 5 rounds in a row, and they're still only 3 away from victory. The gap is still significant, and oh no, DR Frost, a fan of these slightly unconventional weapons, has gone for the auto sniper.
On the T side, very wacky indeed. Usually, you know, you see it sometimes on the CT side. Very rarely, still. Very, very seldom. But it's generally not doable on the T end of things because you have to peek into angles. However, above smokes, above fire, finding someone that's a little vulnerable. Good indeed work. Torres trying to get out. Oh, the flash. It saves him for a brief moment, but he also blinds himself, unfortunately. I think that could have been massive, but the timing not quite there for him. And, well, Mosh, you're going to get caught completely off guard as well around the fountain. Is a little difficult. If you're not used to it, that is certainly an area in which the T's can just blend in. 5 on 2. Down to a 4 on 2. But very quickly they call to save. I thought we were going to see something spicy. Aleph, though, CT side, not got much money. Beyond Dio. And therefore not going to go for it.
Yeah, especially with DR Frost, right? That auto sniper is just trained on CT. There's no way you're getting around that angle. It's just not going to happen. So, making the wise call. Hiding over towards the A-bomb site. Keeping their hands on a couple of rifles at the very least. But 9 on the board for Ultra. Maybe what Nick said in the break is starting to come back to haunt them. You know, talking about not getting their bonuses if they don't pull their straps up here in this game of CS, and they're taking that to heart at the moment, really starting to bring us back into the fight. Dio still yet to level out. Still on that big -1. Around those 2 rifles, they will be able to get a solid enough buy, though. Mosh opts to drop down to the Mag 7. Had some success with that before. And the 3 rifles still posted. Just a question of can they put them in the right place.
He's getting there. Dio's getting there with the buy menu. Got an M4, no armor. Now, this is really crunch time, though. This is a key swing round, actually. Aleph kind of need to get it on the board and keep that advantage that they have. Oh! What has happened there? That's big miscommunication. I hope they make up and whatnot. But yeah, I think Moshi, unfortunately, very unfamiliar with the entrance points and whatnot, kind of pooing himself a little bit, to be honest. He looked very startled. And then Dio, of course, showing him who's boss with the retaliation. Bit of team damage. Of course, the T side don't know about that. They are grouped up outside of B. Dio going to spot them out so far here. Going to get taken down as well. The Mag 7 up close. Looking to do some damage. That's so awkward. Because of the smoke that goes in, the molly behind it, it burst in a weird area, and Toro's not ready for the gap. Moshi got to go huge here. Not going to happen. And once again, it's all left on to the retake. Fipsy does what he can, but it's not really enough. Keck the only one left. I mean, I could save here, but kind of have to go for it, I guess. It's doable, but it will be tough.
Clearing out construction. It's going to be nightmarish at this point. The crossfire's already established. Utility already starting to run low. I think, yeah. As much as he wants to give this a go, the setup just isn't going to allow it whatsoever. So double digits for Ultra. After a decimation in the first half, they're making this look winnable. Certainly viable at the very least. Keck firing off some warning shots just to try and make sure they don't come hunting him. They're still going to commit to it though, and he's in an awkward spot. He hasn't fallen back quite as far as I would like. He's got to play Ring of Roses round that building, and we'll get an exit opportunity. Finds the shot for at least one. Doesn't find the second commitment. But at this point, that's really of no consequence for Ultra. They've got so much bank, so much money built up. They don't care if they lose an extra man trying to hunt the rifles down. All they're looking for is damage onto Aleph.IM, and that is what they've achieved. One man saving. Still able to pick up the 3 rifles. The money bags that is Dio. 16 grand. Yet to drop. Mosh. Just a smidge AFK to start things off, and could be problematic, actually. Torres has gone for the AWP, spotting this banana control, hoping for the wall bang. It won't quite land. The nades do at least a little bit of damage, and you can see what Aleph are going for. The 3 big riflers. Torres, very proactive on that AWP at the moment, posted up on the half-wall angle. Trying to see what damage he can get, but does opt to fall back. And I think this is where the problems are starting to arise for Aleph.IM. If they can't get aggressions and opening picks with their big riflers, the late round, the rotations, the setups, they're not quite landing. And with Dio again deep into spawn, it's going to be very difficult for them to really commit the rotations. Keck has sent it as fast as he possibly can over towards this A-bomb site. The noise made by Mosh to try and bait them in, but it's not going to work. Holgerson up close and personal with the AK, finds the frag. And again, this A-bomb site looks desperately vulnerable.
Rotation from Moshi. Oh, is indeed coming in. Dio's been kicked for inactivity again, I believe. I think that's what happened last time as well. Moshi being cut off here. It's actually a B attack, so they kind of get lucky in that sense. Moshi with the dink, but not able to capitalize. It's all going to be left on Torres from the back of the site. It's a difficult weapon to use from here as well. If he had a bit of support, maybe he pops off, but unfortunately not going to be the case. Will get caught off. Ultra looking to move up to 11. Fipsy is, again, miles away from the action. Not really anything he can do right now. And also, again, the 1v4 approach, probably not the best idea. So Ultra bringing it within 2 here. Looking very, very solid. Only dropped the 1 round so far in the second half.
Definitely seeing the meta establish itself, aren't we? T-side is the place to be. Gap now, just 2 rounds again. 4 players staying alive. LST even manages to save himself the AWP, so couldn't really ask for a better situation, right? Ultra really building into the second half, really showing us what they can do. A completely different look to that CT side where the issues really arose. I think Inferno, an interesting pick for these 2 rosters. The CT sides, the rotations not quite landing how you'd expect, but understandably, Aleph are going to be taking a timeout, waiting to see if Dio will be reconnected to this server at any point. And it gives Ultra a little bit of time to discuss strategy because they are having a blinder of a second half.
Hopefully back into things quickly, but I don't know. Geez, this game state is really, really surprising to me so far, Jack. It's come seemingly out of nowhere. I thought that there would be a little bit of a comeback, but maybe that one slipped round, especially the 13th going the way of Aleph, to me looked like that was it. You know, they've made their mistake, they've given the room back, and the swing of things, the setup change, whatever is there and working effectively for Aleph, but not to be the case. I don't know. I don't know. What do we look for here? Maybe a little bit more proactivity from some of these stronger players, catch Ultra in the setup and whatnot, and try and thin the herd. But then, even if you get 1 or 2, if you go down too easily and give up too much map control, then it's hard for the rest of the team to recover that. It's a very difficult situation to be in, for sure.
It's a really intriguing problem. I think, in my mind, what you got to do is you got to be taking banana control early, right? Commit the utility, take the map control away, post one of your strongest players over there, and then allow the heavy rotation, the big stack, right? Only 4 players in the server at this point. You're going to need to commit some serious firepower to one site or another. You can't afford to sit with the man in the middle attitude. That's what they go for somewhat. They are leaving Fipsy on the speedway rotation. T-side, that's a timing and a half. Bess catches the apartments. Nobody home. Nice smoke lineup from Moshi. Fakes the idea of a pit player, unfortunately. Well, actually, the molly does commit, so potentially they're going to start to... Yeah, Bess is thinking maybe there's a player in that pit. The missed nade, but they're clearing it regardless, and it's bought time for the rotations. It's a nice little intricacy to the round. The bomb, though, nowhere to be found, and as Fipsy goes down, Moshi all alone in this bomb site, desperately spraying with that UMP. Nothing going to land, and Keck... How many times have we seen him in these impossible retakes, right? 1v5 as the bomb makes its way through. Plenty of time left on the clock for Ultra to get this one down. The 12th round all but assured, and Keck, he's just got to try and hold on to that AUG. They just need a little bit of firepower because the bank account has left the server. There's no drops coming at this point. It's going to be all on them.
Oh, man, the pressure now really, really picking up as well. This is where, on both sides of the equation, you know, you've got Aleph don't want to let this slip away after such a strong lead. They are getting dominated, you know, not a single frag coming in that round, not a single player saving as well, which is kind of the key thing, as you were saying. But then at the same time, Ultra, so close, yet so far, you know, they don't want to be in a situation where you put in all this work and it just falls apart at the very, very last hurdle. And again, if you are just joining us, if you're maybe not used to the format, best of 1, single elimination. So you lose a game, see you later, I guess. And it would certainly be a harsh way to go out here if they do indeed fail to come back. Torres going for the jump peak. I kind of like that. You know, you get a little bit of information. Could have been dangerous for him if they'd have rushed him down non-stop. But they need plays like this. Get some early info, get some early frags. Keck gets unlucky. Again, Moshi's got 6k, man. Just ask him. I don't know. Do they? I think he's started to familiarize himself with the buy menu here, and it might take a couple seconds longer than in your usual games for him to get the drop across and whatnot. But MP9 headshot versus an M4 headshot, may even have found the kill with an M4, you know. It certainly is going to make the difference.
Oh, Mosh. Alone on this B bomb site. Everybody heading his way. Does manage to find at least one. He's buying time here. And actually, he's funneling them right into this. Torres is waiting, but he can't find the shot. The big frag has gone just a little bit quiet here, and that's going to be surely the A bomb site completely unraveled. Moshi doing everything he can with the MP7, but yeah, rotations will come through. Bomb going to go down. Fipsy, AWP in hand to try and find this. I don't think he's going to want to go for a 4v2 retake with Moshi on the wrong bomb site as well. Very little Aleph.IM can do about this round. It will be all but inevitably a level pegging scoreline. And yeah, CT sides just not landing, not working out at all. Moshi goes to see what he can get. The answer is nothing. AWP will be saved by Fipsy at the very least to try and give them some firepower moving forward. But the CT side, it's just not working. It didn't work really for either team, honestly, at the moment. You're starting to think maybe Ultra had a better run of it on CT side. They at least managed to scramble a few rounds here and there.
Yeah, it's getting to that point, isn't it, to be fair? Where it's like, oh, actually, Maybe they are just overall the weaker side, pound for pound. Indeed, may well have the stronger individuals, but it is a bit rough. Not quite sure what's happened to Dio here. He did return after, I think, a pause and 1 round in the first half he was AFK for. But here seems to have been gone for a few rounds, which, again, it is certainly going to have issues in terms of that informational play we saw last round, and the way that Ultra are playing things is kind of perfect in this scenario. It doesn't happen very often, but all the same, that running between bomb sites, getting them to over-rotate, etc., it's rough to be on the other end of, but it's kind of inevitable. And again, with having Dio there, they can get some visual cues, some visual information. If he goes down, there's only one guy. We don't necessarily need to rotate everybody just yet. Whereas in this situation, Aleph feel like, better commit everyone. If we lose someone especially, we've got to plug that hole fast. And then Ultra just kind of wait for a second, turn around, go back towards the other bomb site, catch another player alone. It's very well played from the T side. Again, in this peculiar scenario.
Yeah, it definitely does feel like the worst circumstance, doesn't it? Sub me in, Chief. I'm ready, but it's not where you want to be. A man down. Firepower starting to struggle. Torres not having the best of CT sides. Already down to half HP as he absolutely chews on the early nade. Map control given up. A relatively even 2-2 split this time. Fast speedway rotation there from Fipsy. Nice angle. Headshot spot from Keck in towards this boiler. Might not be expected, and it won't. Cleans up best to open things. That's more like it. Leveled out. There is damage on the board for both sides, however. Keck and Torres brought low. Mankey just taking a tickle of it. And this is now all about how this T side look to execute. Where do you put your utility to try and open things up? Little do they know, Torres still low HP towards those new boxes. Only has Moshi on that MP7 in support. Holgerson, I think that was meant to be a CT lineup. Doesn't really smoke anything. And the bomb, as a result, will make its way back. Will start to rotate around. But Mankey's actually picked up a pick here. And that's going to draw the rotations right into the crosshairs. Nothing Keck can do. And the bomb, off the back of that, has got a free entry. It's going to be the auto sniper of DR Frost. Surely to catch his man off guard. Indeed, Fipsy will go down. It's just chaos, but it's working out so beautifully for the T side. I think they even mollied themselves there, maybe. Holgerson and LST taking a lot of damage from the fire, but once again, Torres really just has to save that M4. No money there. And I didn't think I'd ever find myself saying this phrase, but Ultra are going to take the lead.
Yeah, and kind of quicker than you would expect. Not necessarily against all the odds come back when it's 15-3 or whatever, right? They have just been a dominant force here. And again, it's not necessarily down to sick clutches or a massive, massive moment. The whole unit just looks a hell of a lot more effective. Aleph, obviously, difficult scenario, having a player drop out. But LST's done the same. Whoa. Could make a difference. Do we have a game on our hands? But no, up to 14 on the Ultra side of things. And yeah, it does seem that Dio was a little bit the glue that held them together. Like I say, I just think that lack of information from the one player is really having a dire effect here. We will see. It seems a few players having some technical issues this evening, which is somewhat annoying. Not all that much that can be done about it. But yeah, arguably as well, I think it comes down to a little bit more. You have to, again, change your role up a little bit. Change your playstyle, your mentality up a little bit on that left side of things. Yes, you may well be the strongest member or one of the stronger members. That therefore means that your value is so much higher, so you can't go down in a 1-for-1. You have to step up big time more often than not. And unfortunately, it seems, they're going for these one-on-one swings, actually losing them more than they would like. And even then, if they trade, doesn't matter. It's a man advantage. And it's a key player from that left side taken down.
Definitely does feel that way. Getting very close to the line now. But LST is back. I was about to say, we're going to have to drop in Scriv, pick a team each and go for it. But we do have the 5th for LST back in the server. Ultra will have their full complement. All that pressure. Oh, the server's decided not this round. Drops in a little too late. So at least for now, it will be a 4-on-4. I was going to say, again, with the man advantage Ultra, but that's been taken away. Just queuing their way in towards the apartment, slowly taking that control.
A
Working their-
curious turn of events here, Jack, for sure. Is all I want to put in and say. It's been an odd few rounds to follow, to be honest.
This is more like it, though. Aggression from Torres, taking that control away. This is what I wanted to see. Someone setting up for it. That's awkward. Moshi does very well to even get a dink there. The pressure really on, and an auto sniper holding the backstab. Oh, that is absolutely lethal. Defrost nowhere near his man, but auto sniper, wallbang headshot. Iconic duo, and the CT side again, torn from pillar to post. They have got the heavy stack over towards A for now, and at least for the moment, it looks like Ultra do want to commit to it. Keck can catch a timing here. There's a very low HP Mangi making his way around the arches, and he'll go down. Now it's Phipps' time to strike from the pit. 2-on-2. T-side looking very just all over the shop, to be honest with you. Holgerson left in the 1v2 on the site, taking so much damage. It's going to be the pistol to finish it off for Phipps. And 14 all. The CT side, they are not done fighting just yet.
Well, 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 here we go. Game on our hands, folks. Don't look away now, eh? 14-14. All 30 rounds going to be required. It's a question of whether that's all that's required or maybe a little more. Time will indeed tell. Ultra, I think, going to be kicking themselves a little bit. Like you said, that was very messy. That's kind of putting it lightly. Big mistakes made, big gaps left, and they will certainly be mainly blaming themselves for the loss of the previous one. A lot of early damage coming in onto Mangi into this round, though, as they look to readjust. A B-sided default being played. And not much else other than that. Where do they go from here? We've seen a lot of fast approaches so far from Ultra, but certainly that last round has knocked their confidence, slowed them down a little.
Definitely feels that way. Of course, man advantage back for Ultra, so an opportunity to leverage that. Torres tries to play proactively with the AWP. A missed shot means the pressure is really on, and Bess has gone for another tear. 2 picks. The A-bomb site completely open. Bomb yet to commit to the rotation. T-side, I think a little bit of a misread initially, but the call has come through. It's taken a little bit of time, though. They're going to commit. They're going to walk into this. Okay. Wanting to take the bomb B, despite getting 2 picks on A. It's a big call, and there's a man on the coffins. It's going to be Phipps to get one. Keck there as well. It's awkward. But it's down to the last man, a 2v1. I don't think they know necessarily that Keck is deep in CT. Now they've spotted him, but Bess has only got 12 HP. There's 20 seconds left on this clock. Smoke must go down for the cross. That's going to bounce a little awkwardly. I'm not sure how well that covers it, but it'll do the job through it. Keck will find him. And it's Bess in the 1v1. Got to get that bomb out of the fountain as well. Such an awkward thing to try and achieve. 8 seconds. It will be dialed in. But Aleph.IM in with another big shout. Keck needs a quick shot, and it's not going to happen. Bess comes up big for his team. Worth noting that while that's all been occurring, we've lost LST again.
It's a crazy end. You couldn't write it.
It's what it is. We're waiting for the producer in our ears to tell us if we have overtime or if the draw is enough for Exeedme. Mosha's got an Negev, a couple of M4A1Ss, an MP9 for Torres. It's an awkward buy. Definitely an opportunity for Ultra to shut the door here. Has to be proactive with the SMG, of course. Up in the faces of this T-side offensive. Gamble stack will come in. 3 CT players over towards the A side of the map. Okay,
This is what I was talking about as well with the Negev, right? It slows you down, and that's just what he's doing. He's just running with it out, which is really, you know, thankfully there wasn't a rush towards A where I think he was meant to be early on. Otherwise, it would have just been the one player holding on for dear life. Bess has made it up middle, though. This is a key position to be in. in that bracket's control. Working their way through apartments and short here. Flash going in. Fipsy temporarily blinded Keck with a great up-close angle. This could be brilliant. It could be disaster. Great timing. It's a little bit awkward for the first. Does get it done. Still sticking around. Whoa, they line up for just a second. Bess is left low. Finds that frag, thank goodness. And it's a man advantage for Aleph to work with. The overtime certainly is possible, but once again, you've got to be careful here on these rotations. Must guess right. Moshi spotted, caught off, and now an isolated player in towards that A-bomb site itself in the form of Fipsy. They will start to encroach in towards the site. Nice and quiet. Fipsy going to find this one onto Best. Does so indeed. And now it's all on to Dr. Frost. 5 seconds left. No, got to get the frag before you go for the bomb plant. A desperate attempt. And that will be 15-15. I do believe the overtime is indeed, by the looks of things, on the cards with that timer counting down. So the wackiness of this game continues moving forwards, that is for sure.
Oh man, I think I'm gonna start hallucinating. In all honesty, it's getting that late, man. I must be hallucinating. What is this? 3-12, and we're at 15-15. We've only got 8 players left in the server. Everybody else has given up and gone home. But there will be an overtime to try and separate these two teams. It is complete madness. Is the only word that's fair to describe it at this point. My brain shut down. A couple of players' PCs have shut down. We're in for the long haul here, boys.
It's overheated. It's overheated, man. You know, there's so much going on, so fast, so hard to keep up with the action, and they've overheated. Apparently, LST will be reconnecting shortly. It seems from what the players are saying. I think Dio's just gone, mate. Unfortunately for Aleph. Yeah. So we will have another pause just briefly here to start things off. Interesting to talk about, of course, for many of our Counter-Strike fans who catch the overtime at that higher level. It is a 10k start. There has often been a conversation. Do they start at 10? Do they start at 16? You know, 16 means it's all about the Counter-Strike and you know, the mechanics, the strategy and whatnot. Removes that economic side of the game for the most part, unless, you know, you're spending crazy amounts of money. But the 10k does mean that, in fact, you might be put into a dire situation, particularly if you're on that CT side, you lose a couple in a row. Your third round, as that's how overtime works, again, to highlight for folks, it's 3 rounds on either half, the first to 4, right? And then if they both get 3 each, we go to another. The CT side, in the third round, if they've lost 2 in a row, will have very little money left. A new one that's come into play, though, I suppose I'll get your thoughts on this very, very quickly, is, of course, Blast with the 12.5k. How do you feel about that?
I like it. Something a little bit different, something a little bit out there. You know, they're trying new things at Blast. We've seen it pretty consistently. One of the TOs to really start bringing 6-man rosters to the fore. So I've been a fan. For now, though, concentrating on the absolute madness that is this game. Overtime on the cards. Still a 4v4 as it stands. DR Frost, that's a huge investment to bring into a 10k OT. The auto sniper down to 2,900. If this round goes south of the T side, very quickly looking at ecos. Torres going to make it happen with the AWP. Dr. Frost swings. He finds the leg. The damage is at least exchanged. For now, though, pretty much unconfirmed for both sides. Torres might have an idea that he's connected that leg, but they're going to be forced to play passively as a result. Both aware of each other's presence on the server. Bess just lining up the initial utility, taking that bracket control away. And interestingly enough, Ultra, for now at least, committing pretty heavily over towards this B-bomb site where it is an isolated Torres. He is the only player there. Low HP already on that AWP, going to cause him some real problems. 21 health to make it happen.
Certainly not looking too good. A nice resmoke at CT. I think that was needed. Finds the first here. Looking for a second. Great reposition from Torres. What a round. Not ready for Bess. Up high, however. Dr. Frost still in play. Being low HP. Oh, the open plant. There is a swing going to come in. It will be denied. Bess is not fast enough to cover, unfortunately. Could certainly isolate the 1v1s here. Moshi miles away from the action. Once again, unfortunately, Keck going to stop the plant, though, and find that final frag of the round. Aleph, I think they needed that. And for me, Wolfie, I think that is a genius idea from them within the context of this game. We've only got the 4 players. Play the 1 player on B, play him aggressive, but not too aggressive, right? On that AWP, to make sure that you can indeed cover your A side of things, then rotate across as and when, right? I think something like that on your CT side, when you've only got 4 players, needs to happen.
Just aggressive enough, right? That's the idea. Make your presence known. Make it awkward for the T side to fight you. Buy time for the rotations. Torres blinded off the initial peak. Lucky not to be punished for it. Again, they're going to be playing this solo setup over towards the B bomb site, but Bess absolutely tanking at this point for Ultra. 44 frags. 43, excuse me. Not yet quite the 44th. Taking names in towards the apartments. Keck does at least get off the dink in response, so HE will finish his man. But already a man down, and in a 4v4 scenario, just 3 players remaining on the server. Very difficult for the CTs to really cover enough ground to make a viable CT defense. Torres, though, with that pick, has locked out B completely. Not that he knows it. There's nobody here. Rotation is concerning me. Moshi has committed. He's coming back now. Fipsy will tuck himself in towards the bomb site. The bomb will loop through long, so the execute is going to head in towards Fipsy. And actually, Moshi has abandoned him completely and utterly. It's going to be all on Fipsy to try and lock things down over on the A bomb site now. 1v3 required, essentially. He's looking the wrong way. No idea that this long wrap has come through. Free bomb plant. Torres up on the retake. I'm not sure I'd be feeling this if I was him, and he's having second thoughts as he starts to poke and prod around the library. Really needs an early pick to make this viable. Doesn't have a defuse kit either. This should be done. It should be 16 all. Ultra fighting back on their T side.
Oh, key missed shot. Does manage to get a bit of damage in. Not quite able to finish off. That could have been the one that turned the tide. Unfortunately, doesn't quite come in. Moshi going to push forwards. Ill-advised, but again, that's a very kind of niche part of the game, saving and whatnot and recognizing when to do it. That's fair enough. And the AWP, importantly, gets away. The rest of them will have enough to buy up and whatnot. However, again, the game on our hands here. As Ultra keeping it as close as damn it. The last round, as you can see, of this first half, before we move into the second half of our first bout of overtime. At this point, it gets... well, it's okay. But what I was going to say is, you know, in future, especially with our brains here on the casting desk, going to mush, it can get a little bit confusing, right? So, bear with us on the maths. I'm preparing myself and psyching myself out because I can see in my mind's eye that this might go a little further than just the one overtime.
Does feel like one of those days, doesn't it? Full rifles. No auto sniper available, of course, for Dr. Frost. The economy won't support it. Double AWP setup pulled out by the CT side of Aleph. Another big call. Of course, last round of the first half of OT. Don't need to worry about the finances so much, so that's less of a concern. Probing this bracket control, the T side. They've been playing it slowly, cautiously, looking for those initial picks. Torres going to give him the opportunity, and Bess on another level at this point as he takes the first head. No idea from Moshi where to look. He'll go down easily. Of course, there's no harm in giving this a go for the CT side. It's last round of the half, and well, they're in need of something a little bit special. Mangi, though, cutting the man out. Fipsy can only find the one. And Keck's so far away on this rotation. A 1v3 required from him. Making his way up the speedway, aware that the sound cues will give the game away, but at this point, the time already ticking down. Very much has to commit to trying to find this early duel. Clearing his angles gradually. Understandable. We'll spot the first man out. Able to take out Mangi. 2 more yet to find. Bess and Holgerson locking down this site. The smoke is going to go straight through. He's been spotted though, and Bess is looking lightning quick. 8-17 to 16. We head into the halftime, of course, for those who don't watch so much overtime Counter-Strike. 19, the lucky number. A flawless half needed for the CT side. As Aleph do head over to the T half. Ultra needing 2 CT rounds. That's going to be the problem. Their CT side really didn't click. They're going to need something to change if they are to take this in OT1.
Yeah, and I mean, Aleph have come in with experience on the 4-man CT side as well, so they might know some of the things that you are likely to fall flat to. Whereas Ultra not as much experience there. So we'll be curious to see, but as you were mentioning, and as you can see statistically, Bess has really picked things up here towards the tail end and into the overtime, almost hitting 50, which even for an overtime is pretty incredible to get that high in just the one. So we'll see whether that performance kind of continues. And perhaps for Ultra, it might have to. But here we go. Time to see, indeed, what Aleph particularly have got planned. Because it's not an awful lot just yet. If they lose the first round, maybe, indeed. But there's a bit of pressure on them. And so far, when the pressure has been off and then on, they've not really performed all that well since the turn of the half, which, again, is very, very surprising to us. Torres going to go in fast, though. He is angry. He wants to get back to his fragging way. He's not quite able to find it. Dr. Frost on the auto once again. Bit more viable on the CT side of things, but certainly worth noting. Great little smoke coming in. Nice molly as well. Mangy not quite ready for them. Torres will be kicking himself that he does not find that. A lot of damage dealt onto the CT side, but no kills as yet.
I like the cool rotation off the back of it. They know they're going to drag the CT side into disarray. Keck will commit to the bracket control, and they're just going to go straight through this. It's going to be Holgerson to try and lock things down here on the A bomb site. So many targets, though. Does well to find one. Keeps his team a man up for now. Trying to face the mini pitman as bomb goes down. Some decent utility to commit to this as well. But Dr. Frost surely going to be caught out. Yep, Fipsy with the angle. Levels things out. And now that damage really becomes a significant factor. Nice pot flash. Moshi will go down, but it's the two big lads to play. And Fipsy, he's got the double spray down all on Bess in the 1v2. He knows Torres is in towards the pit. He knows Fipsy's on site. But the footsteps will give away the game for him. And this crossfire is virtually impenetrable at this point. Bess is desperately trying to clear as much as he can, but too many angles, not enough time left. We'll have the first of the 3 required to take this in single OT. A little bit closer than they would have liked, I'm sure, but they're making it happen. And Dr. Frost, again, that auto sniper, if you can't save it, it ruins your economy. He's on $0. If this round goes south, he's looking at a hard buy. Very likely just pistols and utility into the last.
Yeah, T-side 10k, you can kind of, if you get bomb plants, it might not be the end of the world, but on the CT side of things especially, it is incredibly costly. Early utility here into Banana from a left. No frags picked up just yet. Playing with fire. Both figuratively and literally. Fipsy as well. Catching me off guard as he catches DR Frost off guard. Best going to go down on the flank. Well held. A nice little 2-man group across the board. And it has worked very successfully. Look how dominant this is here on the T side. Awkward fight. They both run out of ammo. It's Torres to fall. We know where Holgerson is, though. Trying to clutch things up. Again, 4 to find. Certainly was close in the last round when maybe it shouldn't have been. Is that going to be the case again? Moshi.
Hey.
Bit of time. Wasn't quite in the sight, I don't think. But he will get the plant eventually. It leaves Fipsy a little bit isolated, to be fair. And if you can find Moshi quickly, Keck is low. There's a chance, but he can't take a single bullet, of course.
That's going to be his real problem here. So little health to work with. Flashes coming in from Banana for Keck just to draw him away. Moshi only needs to land one shot here. He's actually peeking his head up, and Holgerson has not spotted it yet. It's a little bit mad. They do make it work, though, and so nearly. Keck swings just about to take out the last man. It's closer than it ever should have been. But this is where the problems really come through for the CT side, right? Bess, 2250 after armor. Dr. Frost, 1400 after the armor. PP Bison in the critical round, the round that needs to force double OT for the CT side. This is not the round where you want to be making those big sacrifices, and it's what's had to happen. So, ball very much in a left's court to shut this one down to finish the job here. And they'll set up passively initially, waiting out any opening aggression. They've gone very quickly towards Banana both times so far. And Torres, well, not one to let the history books down. We'll go for it again. Control taken initially. CT side just without any real utility, without much firepower. There's only one thing they can do. Hunker down in the sights. play the timings. Maybe try and pull something a little bit sneaky off, but it's not going to happen. Fipsy really warming into OT. A pick they're hoping which will draw rotations, but it doesn't, at least initially. Bess trading things back into level. We're going to commit to this B execute. The utility will fly over the top. Just Mangi inside of the site, playing the most awkward angle possible. Keck deals with him. Bess not smoked off. It misses its mark, so 2-on-2. Moshi and Fipsy. Well, she's going to be left posted. Fipsy's thinking about doubling back over towards the A-bomb site, and he has now called his teammate to join him. CT side fully committed over towards B. How long before they start to send a man back down the speedway becomes the question. Holgerson is thinking about it, but without any cues as of yet, they're not willing to commit. Now they go. Bomb plant will be coming down here. 2v2 in the after plant. Holgerson on the arches. Long rotation from Bess. He really has been the standout player of these OTs for the CT side. Mosh has his angles. Knows where he wants to be. How much work can he do from them? Pop flash in from Holgerson. Really nice. Gives Bess the run of the opening peaks. He's going to take his first man down. As Fipsy in the 1v2 hits the first shot. And Holgerson, he knows where this man is. He's just got to clear it out. He's got to hit the headshot, and he will do so. The bomb will not tick down enough. It's going to take double overtime to separate these two teams. We are going a little bit further.
Whew, we are indeed. And this is where, you know, that conversation, obviously, me and Jack have touched on it a little bit, but it doesn't affect us as much. When you're looking to be sharp and on point and concentrating, focused, fatigue is certainly a factor that comes into play here. And we've been going for quite some time. It's a weird scenario that not a lot of teams that I've casted, and not a lot of players certainly that even just play the game, would be used to. A 4-on-4 double overtime. You know, like I said earlier, couldn't write it. It's a bit wacky. But a key clutch. That will certainly spur them forward to maybe give them a bit of a dopamine boost moving into our second bout. Here it becomes slightly more complicated, but it is, again, that best of 6. So if you can do the basic maths, if you can figure it out, 22 to win, 21 apiece to take us to a third overtime. Now, there you're really pushing it. That's when it can indeed fall apart. Again, even if you are a salaried player, it just gets so crazy if you're getting into your third overtime. So we'll see whether that continues. Once again, some of the points that we're making come back into play. Also worth noting, you don't swap over. You go to another overtime. You stay on the half that you were currently on. It's not like a change of half where you swap to that T side or whatever. And therefore, you know, DR Frost beating around the bush with it again and broken record with it. But another auto sniper, if it goes south, they could see themselves in a very similar situation once again. Very niche thing as well. The head armor here. Not required. Going to be AKs, maybe indeed, yes, an AWP in play, but you're getting one tap regardless. Flash is coming in, though. There's no time for talking it over. Manky just goes pounding in, finds the head of Fipsy, but is instantly traded.
Needed to get away from that situation, really. The 1-for-1, at least taking Fipsy out of the server. Has been a strong performer for the T side, but instead Keck steps up over on the A-bomb site. Starts to really open things up for his team. Torres in tow, and the bomb will go down freely. Now, Moshi isn't anywhere near this, so realistically a 2v2. Opportunity to maybe catch a timing, as Bess will loop round onto short. Torres, headshot peeking the pit, doesn't connect initially. There isn't any utility to flush him out of this, but it means his position known, locked out. Keck will have to try and stay alive. Bess has dealt with the man on the flank. Goes for the reload as well, giving a little more time up to this T side. Playing both, peeking towards short. He's going to run straight onto the site, Bess, but he goes down. And it's Dr. Frost on that auto sniper. Not going to find anything. 19 Aleph looking to carry on. Keep the dominance going on that T side. Unfortunate not to take it in the first OT. Looking to continue the form and make sure it happens here in the second.
Here we go, all to play for. These early rounds, I think, will dictate. A left starting off on the T side could actually be a big factor here. An uphill battle, more likely than not required. Ooh, from Ultra. Best, though, finding a nice early pick. Again, this is what we like to see, those 4-on-4 situations. You are the danger man. You've got to put that into practice. Fantastic pickup and a 4-on-3 immediately out of the gate that Aleph get nothing for. You know, no info, no damage, no utility baited out. It's the perfect frag to begin for Ultra.
Perfect start, and they're looking to continue it. Mangi, again, almost trademark aggression at this point. Top Banana finds himself the pick as well. So good for the CT side. Molotov doesn't quite hit his mark from Holgerson, but it's forced the T side to reevaluate things. Torres has had to fall all the way back. Drops utility, trying to draw the rotations away, trying to at least get the bomb plant down. Half a chance at a clutch here. He might get his shot. Mangi toying with the angles leaves him very vulnerable. And yeah, Torres able to find the headshot. This now becomes far more winnable. Does need to get that bomb down. Needs protection while he does so as well. Gonna tap it out. Trying to bait the peak, but the dink from Dr. Frost is huge. Now the utility becomes absolutely critical. They've got HEs. They're going to try and dunk them onto the default bomb plant. First one doesn't connect. Torres trying to get aggressive off the back of it, trying to catch someone off guard, but he just hand delivers the bomb to them. Deep in towards stained glass, and yeah, nothing Moshi can do in that situation, unfortunately. 3 players kept up for Ultra. Dr. Frost hasn't been able to salvage an auto sniper. There isn't one for him to pick up, but 19 all. Last round of the half. Again, it's going right down to the wire.
Certainly is. Torres may look kind of, you know, in the immediate thought like a bad move there, but someone's got to be proactive. You've got to do something where perhaps indeed they might expect you to be on the site and planting. He was hoping to catch a player off guard, just doesn't happen for him. So that was kind of the last moment to turn things around. Fast round from Aleph coming in here, though, folks. They will charge towards the A-bomb site. At least if your name is Bipsy, if your name is Moshi. And here we go. An early opener. Again, risky. He's got the bomb. This is again where that fatigue comes into play, but he's got the 2 frags. And will manage to get the bomb plant in as well. 3-on-2. They're miles away. They're coming in separately. That's quite a big thing when you are outnumbered. Could easily isolate the 1v1s, the trades, but Moshi going to fall in towards middle. Torres has got to be very, very careful here not to go down in the apartments. Finds one, looking for the second, and he will get it. Aleph.IM take the lead, moving into half 2.
Means they just need 2 CT rounds to get it over the line, but their CT half has not been the strongest of beasts. They've had some serious issues getting the rotations in. I think Ultra still very much going to feel like they're in with a shout. Of course, need all 3 rounds to win it. Just 2 to take us to triple OT. Push my bedtime back another 20 minutes. 4-on-4. Still the case. We haven't had LST back in the server in these overtime situations. Decent buy for the T side. Again, Dr. Frost on that auto sniper, though, and Torres not done yet. Takes the fight to Banana. Finds that early pick once more. Should allow the rotations to come through as well. Dio is back for a split second. I think he was on the wrong side for a second as well there. He'll make his way back in. The last-minute super sub. Playing the triangle arches is risky, and Bess is going to find the punishment. Now Moshi under so much pressure here. 2 angles to swing. Crosshair not in the right spot at all. Spot's surely one out, but the nades will bail his teammate as well. Keck in the worst position in the world. Mini pit to try and clear. So many players headed his way. How much can he get done? How many men can he take down here as the bomb's going to get planted? Keck, nothing doing. Best is there to shut him down, and Dr. Frost does what he does best. Auto sniper, 20 apiece. 22 the magic number. Someone's going to need to have a flawless remainder of this half.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened to Dio there. He definitely joined back and then got kicked from the session, apparently. So, you know, once you're out, you're out. I don't know. A weird one. Might have something to do with the fact that he didn't join back fast enough and he's been, like, kind of soft banned on the platform kind of thing. You know, your half an hour cooldown or whatever. But, yeah, certainly an awkward one. Once again, and those same kind of issues for Aleph coming in, the CT side not quite strong enough. Torres, though, being proactive. We've seen this from him in a lot of the rounds, including the last one. In a lot of the rounds of overtime, he has found himself an early opener. Can they work with it? Maybe it was because he tried to join the T side. Dio is back, folks. What? Somehow, he's got 11, nearly 12k. I don't know what is going on anymore. But could that be the difference maker? Torres with the early opener, finds an advantage into this round, if they've got 5 men to work with in the next round, oh my goodness, it could be the end.
Do you believe? Do you start to believe? The madness could be over. Man advantage for Aleph. The execute. Set up over towards this B-bomb site. Holgerson dropping what utility he has. Bomb will make the transfer. Moshi not quite able to hit the shot. Pipsy, though, straight through the smoke, actually manages to deny Bomb. And Mangi, that reload's heard into construction. Surely Fipsy will deal with him. It's Dr. Frost 1v3 with the auto sniper. Switches to the AK, but it's not going to land. 21 are left with one opportunity to finally shut the door. Pretty much everyone's stats look pretty impressive at this point. They've been going so long. Moshi, a stalwart, shall we say. 5 and 35. Not stats you see every day. 58 kills for Bess. Really looking to put up the numbers. And, well, he's got one opportunity to shut the door in its entirety. They do have Dio back in the server, knocking on the door. Okay, still sticking to the trusty P2000.
Indeed. Here to witness the victory, I suppose. The Aleph boys, they've said their prayer to the poster of Dio to help them out against the nasty, nasty Ultra. I think that might be too wild of a reference, but if anyone gets it, fair dues. But either way, he's here. He's got money. Like, you know, it's just information at this point. He's got money, but he's not dropped anyone anything. Not that they really needed it. So he's just kind of here for that moral support. And again, to see the victory in. Keck going to go down early, though. That is, once again, another key opening frag. Danger Man, certainly not the most dangerous, but one of. For the side of a left, Moshi can't get it done towards long. Fipsy, though, is getting it done towards short. Finding 2. Still alive in pit. Bit of information to work with as well that they could be coming in from long. Sees the nade through the smoke. Finds the frag onto Bess. It's all onto DR Frost and he can't get it done. The 22-20 comes through in the end. Double overtime. But it's Aleph.IM to take it over the line.
Lots of cases being dished out as well. Only fair.
I should think
it's been
so.
a long old slog. It's been a long old slog. Aleph take it 22-20, an absolute banger of a game. But of course, that is us done with the stream for today. I mean, just look at those stats. Utterly mental. Utterly mental. We are going to be back, of course, tomorrow, 8 p.m, the last quarterfinal. Then Monday, we start off with the semis. But for this evening, for myself and Scriv, as we do look at that schedule tomorrow, 8 p.m, you're not going to want to miss it. I mean, look at this game, right? It's been complete and utter chaos. There's nowhere you'd rather be, guys. So do make sure you're tuning in tomorrow at 8 p.m. for that. And for now, before my neighbors start making noise complaints, we're going to leave you be. Have a wonderful evening, ladies and gents, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Exeedme, a revolutionary platform that allows athletes to compete and earn money in real time. Wherever they are in the world, they can be playing their favorite game, pushing players to the limit. Exeedme puts players competing against each other, measuring and evaluating their performance, taking them to a new reality. With our platform, you just need to choose your favorite game and place your bet. Exeedme will find the perfect opponent for you, matching your skills and experience according to your ranking. Know more about your emotions. Learn how to be more focused, more accurate, faster. Take it to another level. Exceed yourself and win. Exeedme, the evolution of competition.
Exeedme é uma revolução para jogadores amadores e profissionais. Podemos jogar ganhar dinheiro e entender o nosso desempenho ao longo do jogo. Posso comparar a Exeedme a empresas como a PokerStars, que trouxeram a possibilidade aos jogadores de viverem de algo que até ali era um hobby e melhorar as suas habilidades enquanto fazem algo que adoram.
A mellow demeanor, an even exterior. Do you know the work it takes to have this attitude? I don't try to be heard, 'cause that's so much easier. I have exercised restraint from the pedigree. Shake off what those have been told you before. Are reserved, shine.